Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting for the Liberty Beat on Wednesday, March 6, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Saying that a few images of displaced refugees would probably do the trick, Americans admitted this week that they could probably be talked into another war. Citizens nationwide told reporters that if they were to see a blurry satellite image of potential nuclear weapons or footage of an evil militant group, they could easily see themselves getting on board with another major military effort.
I'm not saying I'd be gung-ho about it right away, but if they called it something like a concentrated military operation or something other than war at first, I could see myself warming up to the idea. Honestly, just hearing a top official on TV say something like patriotic duty might clinch it.
And in this week's op-ed pages, an area man finds it's just his luck to lose thousands at the blackjack tables every night for the past few weeks. In other news, a senator tries submitting a rejected bill to the Canadian Parliament. What mom would have wanted is evolving over the course of funeral planning. And a new report finds you're actually saving money with a Franklin Skate Center roller rink membership.
This is the Onion News Network.
We're on, Mark. You've got the wrong things muted over there and unmuted. You need to unmute the ISDN or the Comrex Access. There you go, buddy.
There you go. Just learning how to do radio here.
Well prepared, sir. Well prepared.
Just doing show prep. What do you want from me?
You're supposed to do that before the show.
Free Talk Live, Wednesday edition here. Mark with you.
Jay.
That's the proof that it's live, and it's Ian Freeman.
That's true. Ian's sitting in the third chair, not doing his normal co-hosting or hosting stuff here that is always done reasonably well. And it's my job to learn how to do this so that I can be a better host generally.
You've been doing this for 12 years, 13 or 16.
No, I haven't been in
like
the first chair, though.
And you've also been absent for a little while.
That's true. So let's go to some show prep I've got here. I like this one. Turns out it's from Fox 30 out of Jacksonville, actionnewsjax.com. OSHA fines the United States Post Office in Jacksonville $129,000 for exposing mail carriers to the August heat in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hot in Florida. The idea that somehow you're going to be able to avoid that as a mail carrier seems kind of silly.
Seems unrealistic.
And then there's the whole rain, sleet, snow, gloom.
Yeah, that's fake.
Yeah, that's clearly fake. So the Occupational Safety and Health Administration doesn't agree with this. OSHA accuses the Arlington Post Office and Merrill Road of putting mail carriers in danger by requiring them to deliver mail in high temperatures. The federal agency issued the United States Post Office a fine of nearly $130,000. USPS began the process of contesting that fine Tuesday. So what do you think, Ian? Should they contest the fine? Are they the wrong? I mean, you love to see the government fight with itself. Got a favorite?
Yeah, I mean, none of this. Okay. Well, sir, first of all, the Postal Service is the one of the few government agencies that basically is self-funded. I mean, there are few exceptions to that. They're basically self-funded. So who ordered this? Was it a judge? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The USP, it's the OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
OSHA, okay. And so they want the Postal Service to pay their own employees, basically?
It's a fine, is what they're calling it, I presume.
Oh, so they're paying OSHA?
Yeah.
Well, then they should definitely contest it.
I love the idea that they have to pay OSHA something just for fun.
Why would you love that?
It just amuses me.
OSHA is just one of these organizations that just, as far as I'm concerned, they overreached. I mean, the whole idea with them was to protect people, but they're ridiculous. In fact, you can't even rent a Bobcat in Massachusetts now because of Massachusetts. The state of Massachusetts, their form of OSHA makes it you must have a hydraulics license to operate any piece of equipment that can lift 500 pounds more than like 10 feet.
Okay.
So
that's a Bobcat, sure.
Sure, Bobcat, tractor, whatever. So what's
I've
happened,
seen 14-year-old young men operating a Bobcat. I mean, it's I'm not saying it's not a specialized skill, but it's not like you can't learn it.
Well, what that's done is that's made the rental market on southern New Hampshire pretty darn good, because a good friend of mine I do a lot of work for in Ware, his place is called Quick Lift, and he's in kind of he's buddies with a lot of other rental guys, and he says all the rental guys like that are on the border towns, they've just they've like
making a mint.
They put on like 6 more Bobcats, 4 or 5 more mini excavators. These things are $50,000 to $70,000 a piece, and people are coming up with Massachusetts license plates and renting them. But what is happening is a guy is like literally like redoing his yard with a Bobcat somewhere in Massachusetts, and OSHA dude like drives by and actually gets out there and makes him stop. Now he's government agent is trespassing on private property and telling some guy who's not engaged in commercial activity or anything, just property owner, that he has to have a hydraulics license and demands to see the hydraulics license. And this actually happened to a friend of mine in Ludlow, Massachusetts.
Do you have to show your hydraulics license to the OSHA guy if he's on your property without complaint or something?
No, I would tell him to get off the property. So what my friend did is he called me up right away. I was in Colorado when this happened. He's like, "You're not going to believe this. There's an OSHA guy here. I'm at my grandmother's house. It was his uncle's skid steer. His uncle had a construction company.
Okay.
And he says, he's doing some work for his grandmother, ripping out shrubs or something. And I go, tell that guy he's trespassing. Tell him to come back with a warrant. And tell him you're going to call the cops and have him arrested because he's trespassing and to get off the property." And so he goes, "I'm on the phone with my lawyer. He says you're trespassing, and he tells me to call the cops unless you leave. Come back with a warrant." And the guy like mumbled some stuff to him. He goes, "Get off my property. I'm hanging up and I'm dialing 911. I'm going to have you arrested for criminal trespass." And the guy got in his car and left. But all these OSHA dudes are like these pencil neck soy boy type, bureaucrats that, they're not tough enough to be a cop, but they want to be able to push people around. So you can usually hammer on them and they'll walk away with their tail between their legs.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if we were clear what a skid slide loader is, but basically it's a
skid steer.
Yes, small piece of equipment. And let's go on with the story here. According to OSHA, August 9th, letter carriers were exposed to the hazards of high ambient temperatures while delivering mail, which could have led to heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. People's health is number one and should be a priority in any job or task that is set before us, said Post Office customer Frank Jackson.
Said a customer?
Yeah, I'm rereading that. That's what it said. Action News. They found a.
Where's this story from?
ActionNewsJax.com.
Okay.
Surprise! They found a bootlicker outside the post office to interview. Action News Jack's first alert chief meteorologist Mike Burrish said that it was the hottest time of the year in Jacksonville with a heat index of 107. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Florida. It's hot in Florida in August. It started being hot in Florida in August about the time that the Spaniards arrived. At least that's when we began keeping record of it at any way, shape, or form.
It was probably after it came out of the ocean.
Yeah. It's hot near the equator around August. So the idea, like any mail carrier, any person who signs up as a mail carrier in Jacksonville, Florida, has to at least understand that they're going to be dealing with some hot weather. Mail carriers have their windows open on their vehicles. They're in the shade, but it's hot.
Do you think those little mail trucks have air conditioning?
The old ones probably didn't, but I'll bet you the new ones do.
I know a friend of mine hauls mail trucks. He's got a towing company, and the ones up here do not have air conditioning that are like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, lots of mail trucks, maybe it's true. Maybe they don't have them down in Florida either. They just feel like you're going to be hitting too many houses and opening and closing your windows, just pointless.
Yeah.
And a big waste.
They seem kind of basic, the mail trucks.
Well, you don't want a particularly complicated truck if you're trying to work on these things. You got to keep a fleet running. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have air conditioning, but I wouldn't be surprised if the new ones do either.
And most of these mail carriers, well, unless they're in rural areas, they're generally walking around anyways, and you would figure it would be in the job description. And all the mail carriers I've talked to around here, in fact, I was plowing snow the other day. I talked to a guy who was training a guy, and I'm like, so what do you do when it gets really cold? He's like, I just wear coveralls, wear gloves. He goes, I got an electric jacket, but I haven't used it only a couple times. He's got says he had an electric jacket that he can wear, and he says he loves it that he gets to be outside and walk every day.
Yeah, I think that's, I can totally see why somebody would enjoy getting out in the weather. However, Diane Nelson, a post office customer, says, I think it's awful. If they had to work under those conditions, it's a heat index of 107.
She'd probably change her mind if the mail stopped coming.
Yeah,
what other options are there?
Diane, how do you think this stuff is going to get delivered?
Yeah. We don't have postal robots yet.
The employees can just go get a different job if they don't like it. They can go to McDonald's and work in the air conditioning or whatever, or go get a bureaucrat job, pushing papers somewhere.
I don't know why the post office made it so hot on that day in August that they. This is insane.
Look, the fact is, it's actually, you get paid better generally to work for the post office, right? So they're going to want to stick with the post office, even though it's
not as good as it used to be, Ian. Now they're hiring contractors as opposed to postal employees.
Still pretty decent, though.
I think that what we are seeing here is the harbinger, the bellwether of the destruction of the Western civilization. If they can't handle, if post office people can't handle some warm weather, then that's it for us. Sorry. Close. It's good night, Gracie. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The Free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. TheMorganReport.com. TheMorganReport.com.
Free Talk Live.
I told them, look, there is one place we can agree, and that is our belief that the Creator is the most sacred and clean and holy essence we know about. And he goes, yup. And I led him through a bunch of yups. A hearing, sight, yup. And then I said, and the last thing that I can think of is sacred is our sexuality. You could hear a pin drop. And he had been queer-bashing up a storm. And I simply said to him, you know, folks who think they're having an argument with their neighbor's sexuality are actually having an argument with the Creator who made us this way. And that's when he started screaming at me.
Wow.
Because you can't really be a follower of Buddha or Jesus or Moses and be a queer-basher.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Wednesday night edition with Mark.
Oh, Jay.
And Ian.
You can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. We're talking about a situation here in Jacksonville where OSHA has fined the United States Post Office. It's the government going after itself. And basically the idea is that the post office sent out its mail carriers in too hot a weather, so they got a big old fine from OSHA.
Just shut down for the whole month of August.
Yeah, I guess just no more mail carrying. It's just too tough for the people going to handle rain, sleet, and snow. They can't handle warm weather.
Then they'll go after the UPS guys, the FedEx guys.
That's what concerns me. The people working on the lawn, whatever it is.
Well, then you ought to be happy. You said you were happy to see the Postal Service get this fine. You should be happy they're challenging it instead, because if the Postal Service can defeat this, then OSHA will have a much tougher time going after anybody else. You ought to be cheering the Postal Service on.
I don't care. I'm mostly just amused. Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented...
Then don't act like you care.
...news aggregation site. Do you want the newest and freshest stories and perspective on current events from those who value liberty? FreedomsPhoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up-to-date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S. Phoenix.com. It's freedomsphoenix.com. I get their daily dispatch and have gotten it for many, many years. I think it's great. Really good news. Let's go to Vernon calling in from New Orleans. We were talking about the postal trucks and whether or not they have air conditioning. It looks like Vernon has done a little research on that here in the Discord.
Actually, I was walking down to a parade the other day, and I saw the Sunday carrier, delivering those Amazon packages, and I just happened to see she was in a newer van instead of one of those old trucks, and I said, hey, I was just curious, do they have air conditioning? And she said, the newer ones do, surprisingly, but she said the older ones don't.
Right.
And
So like the van
she always
looking...
appreciates being able to deliver on a Sunday because she gets to enjoy the air conditioning.
Yeah,
and the overtime.
So the one that looks like kind of like a shorter van, newer model van, that one has
like a
AC.
Minivan.
It's
a
minivan. It's a little more van-y
The Euro
shaped.
vans.
It's kind of like a bread truck it's a tiny bread truck.
Well, no, are you thinking of
the
old
the bread truck doesn't have the air conditioning. It's the minivan looking like a Dodge.
You're
that
confused,
has the
Mark.
air conditioning.
I don't know what the new one looks like.
Yeah, you're confused.
I haven't seen a new one. I'm talking about what the old one
I was
looks like.
talking about the newer van. That's different than the truck-looking thing with the boxy truck that they've had for many years.
Well, but before that, they had this little square Jeep thing. That's what I would call an old mail truck. But
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, well,
or at least I don't remember seeing it.
Maybe 10 years my junior.
Just one other fun fact, if you're wondering about UPS, the United Parcel Service, the brown trucks, neither the brown truck or the van have air conditioning. I have asked about that as well. So they only have heat in either of those. So I don't know about FedEx, but I just thought that was interesting.
Wouldn't doubt it. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
FedEx are contractors. So as far what I know about FedEx,
but they seem to have a standardized truck.
Not necessarily. I've seen
Not
them driving
necessarily.
around.
I said seem to have.
Yeah, I've seen them driving around Penske Rentals. So it just depends.
Yeah, there is a FedEx truck. It looks standardized and it looks very much like the UPS truck. I suspect it's the same thing and likely has the same accoutrement that the UPS truck has.
Arterial Salad in the Discord chat over at discord.lrn.fm says the model of the boxy mail truck that we're all mostly used to is the Grumman LLV. They're typically around 30 years old, and no, they do not have AC, so he confirms that.
Yeah, that's the ones that come up for sale at like the surplus things.
Really?
Yeah.
Very rarely they come up for sale because those things last forever. They are such great, the aluminum construction. They don't rot out.
I imagine the guy who keeps the yard at the local post office is pretty good at keeping these things going until the wheels just fall off of them.
They're so simplistically, built and basic that they source the General Motors parts, which are just dirt cheap to buy. And, it's the same things as you use in several hundred production model cars, brakes and transmissions and all that stuff. So yeah, they're very simple. I've messed around with a few of them. And I just found an article here. I was Googling the Sprinter vans post office.
Are they gas or diesel?
I've never seen them in diesel. They're almost always gas, those little ones, especially older stuff. The diesels weren't that, desirable years ago. The bread truck Grumman vans, like you'll see Frito-Lay and UPS run and stuff, and FedEx, and even some Postal Service, they actually, in the 80s, a lot of those came with 4-cylinder Cummins engines, and those are really nice because those things get like 22, 23 miles to the gallon.
So that's a diesel?
It's a diesel,
the Cummins, okay.
Yep. It's basically the same thing.
I've never heard of a 4-cylinder diesel, but I guess, it has to have been in cars and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so like all the Volkswagens are, the Volkswagens are all 4-cylinder diesels, but like my Dodge pickup trucks has got that Cummins 5.9s inline 6, the same exact motor that's in those those big bread truck vans is that same engine, but just 4 cylinders, so it's very simple parts, and those they're in tractors and everything. That's my favorite bug out engine is that 4 or 6 cylinder Cummins, because there's millions of them have been produced, several millions.
You can go to any junkyard and find the parts that you need.
Pretty much any auto parts store, any junkyard, any construction yard, and yeah.
Let's go to Dave calling in from New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, folks. Headed toward the nearest window so I get a better signal. The president of the Free State Project is arrested and chained to a pole for trying to film police. It's important not to forget about it or let it go.
What?
This is something that happened.
Who got arrested and chained to a pole for the president of the Free State Project?
Yeah, Carla Garrick, but it was 10 years ago.
I didn't know they chained her to a pole. I don't remember that detail from the story.
Handcuffed her to a pole, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to update you that is with many things, events like this have echoes, and this one is still echoing a little bit. So one of the arresting officers, what happened was there was an incident in Ware, New Hampshire, where Carla Garrick, who was, I guess, at the time Free State Project president in New Hampshire, she tried to film a traffic stop. I guess the police must have stopped someone that was in front of her or something along those lines. She stopped the car and was filming and got arrested and charged with wiretapping, which is kind of a rare charge in New Hampshire. But anyway, one of the arresting officers apparently went on to gun down a fleeing drug suspect.
Oh no!
Yeah,
and
over
was,
cannabis.
Fired from the police department, probably for some other reason. I don't know why they fired him.
Was this just recently? When did this happen?
No, that would have been roughly 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't it Officer Kelly, right?
I don't remember
Was
the guy's
this the
name.
notoriously corrupt police department known as the Ware Police Department?
Correct.
Okay. So there was a lot of scandals surrounding that particular department 4 or 5 years ago. I remember the police chief got fired or something, and then the next one got fired right after that for something else. I forget all the scandals exactly, but
there was some smoke surrounding
one
this
after another after another.
Well, I'm sure Dave's called in to update that. Kelly is suing the town of Ware again to get off the Lori list or whatever.
This is the list of bad cops.
Oh, is that what it is? I know he sued them, but the part that happened recently that I'm aware of, and they've been giving him money, I guess, as a result of these lawsuits. And now I guess it's the recent most minor.
All right, well, hang on, Dave, because we'll bring you back. You can tell us what's going on, what the latest is with the corrupt cops on Free Talk Live.
We pledge allegiance to one flag, and that flag is the American flag.
Did you know the official national American flag has never been manufactured for retail stores? The one that Americans fought and died for. The one symbol that represents our Constitution. Now you can be a part of this great movement that's never been seen before. Together, we'll recapture America. Call 1-877-383-4777 or visit theofficialflag.com. Theofficialflag.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Wednesday edition, and you can call in and talk about whatever you want to talk about. We're talking about OSHA fining the post office, and we're talking about long past incident where the president of the Free State Project was chained to a pole for filming the police in Ware, New Hampshire. So a couple of different topics on the table. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Ian.
You can call in and talk about what you want. Let's go back to Dave in New Hampshire. Dave, you're back on Free Talk Live.
So, yeah, just bringing you the most recent thing that's happened, I guess, is the city has made another grant to this fired, apparently bad officer. It's just another $5,000. But, $5,000 here, $5,000 there. Pretty soon you're talking state budget. So
now, why are they giving this officer who was fired money after he's been fired?
I don't know what the latest payment is for, but it was he sued them for apparently there was some alleged impropriety in the way they handled his records, or they, I say impropriety. It was they just apparently weren't following the court's instructions closely enough, or something like that. And apparently he's just litigious, and he's always, it's like, it seems like every 6 months there's a new article about him getting some new money from the taxpayers of
Is it
Ware.
just him, or does he have like the police union filing these cases for him?
I have never heard any indication that the police union has been doing this for him. I don't know if they have a police union there.
But I wouldn't. Believe me,
they definitely
have
have a police union. I could tell you a lot about the Ware police. So I live in Henniker, New Hampshire. In fact, I live 0.2 of a mile from the Ware line. I like to call my property Nowhere. But anyways, so there's a little country store called 3C's Country Store. I'm probably in there every day. It's a lumber yard, hardware store, gas station. And I wear shirts about freedom and liberty. And so I've been meeting all the locals who are into freedom and liberty, because when they see a Bitcoin shirt or something, or a Ron Paul quote or something, they come and talk to me. So one guy I've been good friends with now for a year, we've been chatting a real lot, is bent out of shape about this cop. I believe his name is Kelly, who he shot a dude that was set up by a confidential informant to come meet and buy a bag of marijuana in a parking lot called Lancelot's in Ware. And he basically, the guy was like running away and got shot.
Man.
Literally shot, running away.
And it's legal
in
for
the
that
back.
to happen.
Well, it's not legal if it's not a felony.
Selling marijuana is a felony.
No, buying marijuana, a small bag of it, is not.
I'm sorry. I thought you said the dude was selling it.
The dude was selling it. It was set up to meet a confidential informant in the parking lot. It was a sting operation. And so this guy, cop, I think his name is Kelly. There's also a police chief named Kelly. It might not be Kelly, but whatever. The guy I was talking to in Ware, let's say his name is George. George tells me that one of the things that was happening is this particular police officer was doing his 1 year of his retirement build-up fund, which is you go work a detail every single day, and then you work night shift, and then after you accumulate your 40 hours,
you work
because you're working 18 to 20 hours a day. So your last 25 hours of your regular work week is going to be double time, because now it's overtime, and then you're working. So these guys are doing like 105 or 98 or 110 hours a week, so they can collect, $200,000 worth of retirement.
Right. The retirement system is set up such that I think it's
90% or something.
Yeah, it's 90% or some large percentage of your last 3 years.
2 years in Ware.
Last 2 years on the force.
Yeah.
So they take it and average the last 2 years, and then pay you that on a monthly basis.
It's
annual
3% every single year you work. So if you work 25 years, it's 75%, and it's your top 2 years. And the police union has come in there and twisted the arm of the Ware Town Council or selectmen, whatever they are, and told them that for every time that there's like Eversource is working, or they're working on power lines or doing tree work or any kind of road work,
there
has to be at least 2 cops.
Oh, 2 cops.
And it's $71 an hour. $35.50 is the prevailing wage for Ware that those cops are paid. And this is why your electric bills are so expensive. This is why everything costs more. And this all goes towards a pension. Well, this cop had literally logged. This cop that shot this man for marijuana while he was going the other direction had literally logged something like between 90 and like 100 hours a week for like the several previous weeks over this deal. This is all stuff that was going to come out because this man's family who got shot sued the Ware Police Department. The Ware Police Department paid out an undisclosed amount.
Did they really?
Yes, they did. It was settled out of court.
Because it's legal to shoot a fleeing felon.
Well, a cop can get away with it, but the civil case is a little different. Just like OJ did not go to jail for killing that woman, but he was found responsibly in a civil suit. So, but what the town aware and the parasites do not want getting out is the fact that these cops, I mean, what good judgment are you going to have after working several weeks in a row, 100 hours a week?
That doesn't sound like that's a recipe for good judgment.
And you're carrying a gun, and you're trigger happy, and this guy has just been a dirtbag, like right along. And the last payment of this $5,000 is because the Ware town clerk's office is still holding 2 documents in his file about his bad conduct as a cop, and something to do with the lorries list. And that's what the $5,000 last settlement was over. And yes, the police union is very involved in making sure that these cops are able to extract every single penny they can out of the tax slaves. And he's collecting a pension.
There are plenty of towns in New Hampshire that just don't have police departments. And this is, best I can tell, the number one expense for a town is a school. The number 2 is their police department. I mean, they want the police department because they're told all this revenue is going to come in from tickets and all this other great stuff. And
yeah, but it doesn't work that way in New Hampshire.
No.
So they couldn't be told that because you don't get revenue.
Right, but that happens
by writing tickets.
Right. They not in New Hampshire necessarily.
In some states you do.
Right, but that's what they want is they want these the revenue that's coming in, and it turns out the police departments are net negative, not net positive. You have to have a crime spree for it to matter.
Jay, God bless you for being here and keeping such a close, detailed eye on that situation. And the way, the reason why this incident even happened with Carla in the first place was because Ware already has such a strong Liberty community. I think they were having Liberty-related meetings in Ware or something like that. She must have gone to one of those or whatnot. There was some kind of controversy that had already happened before she even got arrested 10 years ago. And, these things are happening, and we know they're happening because we're here.
Yeah, the Free Ware meeting, which is every Thursday at a place called General's Tavern right in the middle of Ware there. And that's exactly where everybody was leaving home from. And my roommate, who's been living at my place for like 7 or 8 years or 10 years or something, said that he was just pulling out of the parking lot, and he got the a cell 411 alert or something back. It was a cell 411, I think, or something.
There was a cell 911 at one point too. No, there was a Pork 911 at one point.
Or you're thinking of Pork 411, but it's really immaterial.
I think is what I'm talking about. Anyways, he got some alert some sort, and when he showed up there was already, a handful of Free Staters are already there, and they're all videotaping what was going on with Carla. And just to back up what Dave said.
Dave, thanks for the call.
Thanks, guys.
Right, and of course the reason for that is because of people who have moved to New Hampshire, people who believe in freedom, like the three of us.
Yes.
None of us are from here originally. And Dave Ridley also, one of the earliest movers, the guy who was just on the phone with us. He has a channel at RidleyReport.com and has been doing a lot of reporting for many years here on just a fraction of the things that go on here. So I appreciate Dave continuing to cover, because he keeps coming back to some of these old stories and keeps updating on what's been going on with them.
Right. So Carla Garrick was one of just a handful of cases at that time frame about filming police. And today we live in a world where you can film police, but just 10 years ago, it was really up in the air. It was a very big deal.
And her case went to federal court and helped establish that.
Yeah, it did. And now there's fines that can be levied against police departments that have officers that attempt to stop that. You can give us a call at 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. Or go to discord.freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Bags under the eyes, crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles are things adults complain about as they age. Now, there's Instantly Ageless. It works in minutes and is great for men and women. Here's Dr. Sonia Bacha on The Doctors.
So this is a product we're going to see if it works. It's called Instantly Ageless. And the idea is that it works very quickly, is you just need a very small amount, and then you apply it to areas where you might be a little bit puffy. I have just looked at what's in this product, and one of them is something called argireline, which is sort of a darling in dermatology right now. It's a peptide or a protein that actually relaxes the muscle. It's also called Botox in a bottle. The other active ingredient in this is silicates, which are almost act like a clay. They're minerals, and they're making the skin sort of tighter. It's actually increasing the surface tension on the skin to push that herniated fat pad back.
Try Instantly Ageless today at gcnlife.com. That's gcnlife.com. 30-day money-back guarantee and preferred price discount at gcnlife.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Wednesday edition. Mark with you.
Jay.
Andy.
And we've got this story here about OSHA fining the United States Post Office in Jacksonville, Florida. And I want to get back to that here real quick, but I want to tell you about clips.freetalklive.com. Clips.freetalklive.com is you can go there. It's a YouTube site where you can find some cool clips of things we've talked about here on the air. Much more consumable than, say, a whole 2-hour radio program. Very shareable. Please go there, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, share the videos. Anything you can do to get this up and running is something that we can, it just helps us spread the ideas of liberty farther and wider. We have a guy who's working on it as his form of activism, and we'd love to be able to help him do that.
Is this the same guy who's been doing this for years?
He has.
He came back.
Yeah, he came back. We convinced him.
He took about half a decade off there.
Yeah. Clips.
That's great.
.freetalklive.com. So going back here to Jacksonville, where I hear it gets warm in August, and OSHA has fined the United States Post Office in Jacksonville, near Jacksonville, for, well, sending out its mail carriers in hot August weather. And some of the customers there, it's just awful.
Wasn't it hot in Miami, too?
Yeah,
at the same time.
It's very well. You know how these things work. First, they go after a few isolated places, and then they get some momentum going, and then they change policy, and then they can go after the free market, go after the lawn care businesses, and the United States Postal Service, and by God, anybody who's out there in the warm weather.
The Postal Service has the money. But the average lawn care service is probably going to go under if you put a $100,000 fine on them.
Yeah, I don't know if OSHA's looking for the fine money or not. I guess they probably are, but they're also looking for the.
Of course, they are. It goes to OSHA.
The case.
The fine money goes to OSHA.
Sure.
The individuals who work for OSHA are just the psychopath who want to rule people. So I don't think they really care. I kind of hope that this is like some dude within OSHA that's just like, man, I hate government. Maybe he read Ben Stone's book there and decided to, try to stir up just the government within itself.
What's the name of the book?
Sedition, Subversion, and Simple Sabotage. A 3-part manual.
It's in the bathroom upstairs.
Yeah, to dismantling the state. I might have said the actual title a little out of order, but badquaker.com, you can download it or read it for free or whatever.
OSHA's website says it cited the United States Postal Service for violating the agency's same rule 5 times since 2014 at post offices around the country.
Did the post office not challenge it the other several times it had been done?
Apparently not. The USPS spokesman said that she can't answer any of Action News Jacksonville's questions about the citation because the Postal Service is contesting the fine.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's the story out of actionnewsjax.com.
So it doesn't say it's over like not having air conditioning in vans, or if it's the postal carriers out walking in the hot sun.
Imagine it's all of those things. Honestly, I mean,
do postal carriers actually still walk mail around in Florida? It's not something I saw until I moved to New Hampshire.
It would depend on how dense the area is.
So in like downtown Sarasota, they would have walked it, you think?
They would have had to have.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to have
they go into businesses.
You go into a big building and you got to walk around and put the mail in different places and things like that. I imagine there's not as much as there is sort of in these, there's the dense housing areas where you're going from house to house to house, and postal workers tend to walk that because you have to be able to walk from the post office to the area that you're going to be delivering mail, then walk around the area, then walk back to the post office.
Well, no, what they do here is they'll park the truck and then walk around a neighborhood.
Yeah, so then they stack up the mail in some kind of bag that they just wander around with. Yeah, that makes some sense. There you go. Well, I'm surprised that this is going on, and that's why I brought the story in. I'm just stunned that OSHA would be going after the post office for its employees having to be out in too hot a weather in Florida. I mean, what else are you expecting in Florida in August? It's hot. You didn't want to be hot. You didn't want to sweat. Don't take the job. It's not like the post office has really heavy uniforms or anything. They have light button-up shirts and a pair of shorts that I think they wear with a belt, and then they have to wear black tennis shoes. Not like that's a surprise. There's lots of black tennis shoes out there.
Those blue shirts probably do absorb the heat, though. It would be a little better.
No, they've got very thin ones. These are
I mean
light.
The color. Like when you wear those dark colors.
Oh, it's pretty. It's kind of a lighty gray.
Could it really make that much of a difference in the Florida sun? Whether you're wearing a blue shirt or a white shirt, is it really going to make that much of a difference?
I don't know. I mean, they've got a safari hat that they put on these people too.
When you're stacking hay in New England in the summer, it makes a difference.
Does it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, usually because it's soaked with sweat when you're doing it, so it's transferring that heat pretty good to you. White shirts are definitely better.
To me, I'd rather wear when I wear a work shirt. What I do is I take one of my old dress shirts, the thin type, and I wear that outside. I'd rather have a long sleeve shirt with a collar that I can flip up that's going to cover my neck, cover my forearms, and these kind of things, because I don't want to wear sunscreen. And it's the best thing to protect you from the sun that you can get out there. And
aren't they saying sunscreen's bad for you now?
I don't know.
I could have sworn I heard that.
It's probably lots of bad chemicals in it. Yes.
You know how they keep changing like what's good for you and what's bad for you?
Well,
First, you got to wear sunscreen or you're going to get skin cancer. Now it's like sunscreen's bad for some reason. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
But they're not going to say that skin cancer is good for you. I can assure you. You got to cover up some manner or another. So,
for sure.
And now swim shirts and that sort of thing are coming back for people who are going in the water. I saw a kid in Mexico that was wearing a one-piece swimsuit that was covering him from the wrists down to like his knees in one piece. I mean, it seems very much
seems economical.
Well, that's fine, but it's the old school swimsuits that you'd see on the guys with the handlebar mustaches when they go to the swimming hole.
The ones that men fought to get rid of at one point.
Sure.
Yeah.
Then they wanted to be able to get down to their Speedos, and now you can see on the same beach a person in a one piece and a person in a Speedo. It's a crazy world in which we live. That's for sure. So, that's the story as it stands there from Jacksonville. I would be very interested to see whether, when the post office disputes this, how it goes, because I don't know if they
never find out.
Yeah, I don't know how they disputed it previously, but the post office has been losing money hand over fist. What's their most recent loss, Ian? I think you had that up.
Yep, I did have it up. $1.5 billion, and that's just in quarter one. So the numbers, of course, were terrible in 2018, and now quarter one, Postal Service's ongoing financial losses. This is from fedsmith.com for the informed Fed, is what they say here. So it's approximately 178% higher of a loss than in the same quarter last year, when it only lost $540 million.
Now, I thought they were supposed to be getting Amazon contracts that were going to allow them to make more money. It looks like they're making less.
Yeah, they've managed to continue to screw things up. The article does say, on the bright side, the total revenue was $19.7 billion, which is up 2.9% over the same quarter from last year. So, of course, you'd have to ask yourself, if revenue's up, how is it that they lost even more money this time around?
Clearly, costs are up, too.
And their costs are up, namely increases in compensation and benefits of $657 million due to additional hours and contractual wage adjustments, as well as transportation costs of $207 million due to higher fuel costs and highway contract rate inflation.
Yeah, a lot of the postal carriers these days, are contractors. You'll see, one just came to my door today and was delivering packages from Amazon. It wasn't in a post office van. He was in his own vehicle by the looks of it, or a vehicle that had a magnet on the side. And these people are not getting compensated the way that we imagined, the pensions and all that other stuff. Now, maybe they have to hire a certain amount of them if they last a certain length of time. I don't know what the rules are in the post office, but I know that they have a really nice benefits package. My wife's grandfather retired from the post office, and he got Social Security longer than he worked.
Well, I could tell you, 2 Sundays ago, I got delivery from the post office to my house, and I live out pretty much in the middle of nowhere right now, and they were delivering all Saturday and Sunday when I was living in Manchester, and I talked to him out there, and I asked the guy this past two Sundays ago, I said, so you just got Amazon? Oh, we only deliver Amazon on Sundays, he tells me.
I see.
I says, oh. And I says, I heard something about Trump saying the post office was subsidizing Amazon, and he says, well, I do enjoy the Sunday paycheck, is what he had to say to me.
I see. So there you go. Well, I think that the post office should cut down its delivery days. I don't see any reason why America has to get mail service on every single day. Make one side of the street Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the other Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
It's only going to slow the hemorrhaging. That's all that's going to do.
Well, that's the idea. Everything's in a state of collapse. Free Talk Live.
Let me ask you something. What are you doing when you put money in a 401k or IRA, or store jumper cables in your vehicle, or purchase health insurance? You're preparing. You're preparing to ensure you have enough money for retirement. You're preparing for when your car battery dies, or to have assistance paying a major unexpected medical bill. That all makes sense. The same goes for building a food storage plan. You're preparing for when emergencies or disasters strike and shelves go empty at your grocery store. The best way to prepare is with My Patriot Supply. They've helped 1 million hardworking Americans become more self-sufficient. My Patriot Supply sells hundreds of items, including dozens of emergency food kits, at mypatriotsupply.com. It could be an earthquake, a cyber attack freezing our banking system, or a disaster that shuts down our power grid for weeks. For all these emergencies and more, get your supplies and prepare today at mypatriotsupply.com. No more rushing to find empty store shelves because you're too late. Do it now so you're ready. mypatriotsupply.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at ovaltineusa.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 6, 2019. Gold opened the day at $1,286. Silver opened at $15.08. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,841. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Manage Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, a leak of internal Facebook documents reveals that the company has conducted a global lobbying campaign against data privacy legislation, targeting politicians around the world with promises of investments and incentives. That's according to a report in The Guardian. Activist Post reports that the documents in question appear to have leaked from a sealed California court case against Facebook by app developer 643. The documents reveal that COO Sandberg felt that European data protection legislation was a critical threat to the company. Following the 2013 Davos Economic Summit, Sandberg described in a memo the uphill battle faced in Europe on the data privacy front regarding overly prescriptive new laws. The leaked documents also reveal the company's great relationship with then Irish Prime Minister Enda Kenny, one of many prominent politicians described as one of the friends of Facebook. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% off your purchase by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 6, 2019. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. A bill filed in the Texas Senate would set the foundation to nullify federal gun control in practice and effect. Senator Bob Hall, a Republican from Edgewood, Texas, filed Senate Bill 378 January 17th. The bill would prohibit any state government agency, personnel, or public funds from enforcing any federal gun control regulation or law if the federal statute, order, rule, or regulation, or international law imposes a prohibition, restriction, or other regulation, such as a capacity, size, or configuration limit, that does not exist under the laws of the state. State agencies and local governments would not be allowed to receive state grant money if they adopt any regulation that requires enforcement of federal gun control laws that do not mirror in state law. The Free Thought Project reports a person in the affected jurisdiction would be permitted to file a lawsuit with the state attorney general. American Jews, including prominent figures like Naomi Klein, have signed an open letter in support of Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. The Anti-Media reports the letter states that she has been falsely accused of anti-Semitism and that there was nothing anti-Semitic about calling out the noxious role of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee in American politics. The letter went on to say that the pro-Israel lobby has played an outsized role in producing nearly unanimous congressional support for Israel. The letter finished by saying that, quote, "We thank Ilhan Omar for having the bravery to shake up the congressional taboo against criticizing Israel. As Jews with a long tradition of social justice and anti-racism, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee does not represent us." The letter then called on other Jews to provide their signatures. Support for Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting for the Liberty Beat on Wednesday, March 6, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
CEO Jeff Potkel went berserk earlier this morning, becoming drenched in his own blood and the blood of several employees as he viciously demanded the staff produce more web video content, or he would, quote, "f***ing kill them all."
We need more videos! Videos with bands! Random videos! Funny videos! I want a video with a celebrity! I don't give a shit which one! You think this is funny? I'll show you funny!
He threw our office manager's body against the door and then told us that nobody could leave unless we came up with 3 original video ideas. Then he made us watch as he bit his own tongue in half.
People don't want to read! They want videos! They want to sit at work and watch videos! Videos need to go viral! 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 Viral!
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
That's right, it is Free Talk Live, kicking off the second hour. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Ian.
You're welcome to call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. Let me tell you about the Discord lines. You can go to discord.freetalklive.com. Got an app there called Discord, and you can use that to call into Free Talk Live through your smartphone, and it just sounds significantly better. Yeah, takes a little extra prep time, but once it's installed, you can call real quickly and easily. Discord.freetalklive.com. Ian, I'm not sure what I'm reading here, but apparently there's something called a predatory Llama loot box.
Well, there are Llama loot boxes, and they're being called predatory in a lawsuit that has been filed against Epic Games. I mentioned this story last night.
So this is something that goes on in a video game. It's like a box that comes after people. It's predatory?
No. No, it's a Llama loot box. It's being called predatory in a lawsuit, Mark. Yeah, you've not heard of a loot box before? Don't you have a son who's like 10 years old?
Sure, a loot box is a treasure chest. Yeah. Are you familiar with the Dungeons & Dragons monster called a mimic?
No, I never played Dungeons & Dragons.
Oh my God! Haven't you heard of Dungeons & Dragons?
Wasn't as dorky as you growing up, I guess.
Now I'm the dorky one, and you were just trying to take the high road by saying, didn't you know what a loot box was? Well, there's I'd like to tell you, whippersnapper, that in fact there is a predatory monster that looks like a treasure chest in Dungeons and Dragons.
So you open the chest and it like eats
Chomps you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not aware of any of this stuff.
So
you are aware that Ian is a jerk, right?
You're just projecting.
Well, you two guys are like an old married couple sometimes. That's the only complaint I ever heard about Free Talk Live is people like
sexless and angry.
No, they're like I don't like it when Ian and Mark fight. That really upsets me.
Wow. They need therapy then.
We could talk about North Korea and Venezuela, but let's talk about video game controversy here. The Verge.com reporting where Epic Games was sued just, I guess, within the last week or so. Sued by the parent of an underage player in California who are claiming that Fortnite Save the World's original blind draw loot box mechanics were unfair and deceptive to consumers. To be clear, Epic has already ended the practice of blind draw loot boxes, and they only ever existed in Fortnite's original Save the World co-op mode, not the popular Fortnite Battle Royale mode that rocketed the game to fame. So for listeners who aren't familiar, you may have seen these. You may have seen Fortnite in like stores, Walmart or whatever. They have got displays. This game has become a sensation. I mean, it has become
it's got dances,
a phenomenon
that are like Fortnite dances.
Yeah, I guess those are the things your character does when they're celebrating in the game,
right?
As I understand it.
But I mean, now kids are doing them; they're mimicking them.
Is that right?
By the way, I'll take anything that gets kids to dance. Dancing is
gets
as
them
far
out
as
of their chair.
Yeah, a physical activity. Anything that gets them up, I'm for it.
Does Jack and his buddies do the Fortnite dances?
Jack has never played Fortnite. No.
Is that like an adult game?
No, not really. I mean, you're shooting people, but kids play that stuff all the time.
Sure.
Yeah, Jack just hasn't played. He plays.
He's more of like a Minecraft kid, right?
Yeah.
But that's also violent. Aren't you like slashing beasties in Minecraft?
Mostly he builds.
Okay. There are beasts to slash, right?
There are, if you wanted to slash them. He doesn't want to do that. He builds big castles.
So, according to the story, the plaintiff is arguing that they and hundreds of thousands of other players were tricked out of their money by Epic's business practices. In the complaint, the plaintiff argues the chances of a Llama loot box dropping a rare item are slim. They claim that by not disclosing the rates at which the in-game items drop, Epic Games are deceiving consumers, and the company is engaging in, quote, predatory business practices that convince young players that they will, quote, get lucky and receive more valuable pieces of loot.
So, first off, I would say that if you did reveal the amounts, the percentages, the ratios at which things drop, that people would still not know the ratios because people don't even understand math.
Right.
They just don't get statistics. Human beings are really bad predictors of things. That's why we have the lottery.
Well, plus people who understand math are probably not, the few of them that there are out there are probably not the target audience of the loot box pitch.
No.
In general. Because you would understand that whether you knew the rates exactly of how often a rare item appears in one of these digital prize boxes, you would know it's very, very low. Whatever it is,
it's significantly more often than somebody you're likely to win the lottery.
Yeah,
this is a game. So like the last game I probably played was in like 1987, and it was Zelda on a Nintendo.
This was a good game to end on, I guess.
And I had lots of fun with it. And I only played it like when it was really terrible weather or something. But
sure.
So like a loot box would be like you go and get like a golden key, or you get like maybe a sword, or like in Mario Brothers you get like a mushroom that would make you jump further and stuff. I mean, is that like what a loot box is?
You could look at that as maybe a very early implementation. Those are just power-ups, basically. Now, the loot box will contain things that can
potentially be a power-up.
Potentially have a power-up factor. It could also, have like in-game currency. It could have, it could just have like an outfit. So nowadays, the gamers, they have their character that they can build. And I don't know if Fortnite has this. I think you can choose character things in Fortnite. I played it once just to see what all the fuss was about. But in a lot of these games, you can kind of customize your avatar, the person who you are in the game.
And do you have to like pay for all this stuff?
So yes and no. So these customizable things, you can like wear different clothes. You can have different, glitzy things that you add to your character. And so in these loot boxes can come some of these things. Now, the loot box you can pay for, typically in games that have them, or you can kind of play the game to earn the loot box, meaning that if you play the game for enough time or you get enough of a high score,
you'll get a draw from the loot box.
You'll get a free loot box every once in a while. And of course, getting one loot box is likely to make somebody want another loot box, especially a child who wants to get some fancy thing that they haven't gotten yet in the game through earning it through playing the game. The loot box is kind of the shortcut route to possibly get those things. But not necessarily, because it's just a random, thing. Have you ever played Magic the Gathering? One of these collectible card games?
I have never played it, but
You're familiar with it, that it exists. So this game has been around for close to 30 years now, I think.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty clear.
Because I remember it came out when I was still in high school, and that was in the 1990s. And so they've had various iterations of it, but it always has the same structure. You can buy the starter deck, which comes with like 60 cards, and that's usually enough to play a game, and you can play with other people. But then they have these booster packs.
Yeah.
And the booster packs are a certain random assortment of cards, some of which are pretty common. There's usually like one or two uncommons in there, and maybe you'll get a rare. Right? You won't necessarily get a rare, but you might get a rare, that kind of thing. And these things are always just a crapshoot. Like, you have no idea what the odds are. And so I don't think this lawsuit, and there's a little bit more to the story, is going to go anywhere, because this is no different. This online loot box is no different than an endless amount of similar things that exist in physical reality. How about baseball cards?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't think baseball cards have necessarily the built-in scarcity, or didn't when I was a kid. You just had a randomization. So
you don't think, huh?
Well, I don't know, but I could be wrong.
Didn't you ever notice how you kept getting the same cards over and over again?
I bought a lot. I was really into trading baseball cards when I was like second and third grade. That was like a huge thing. In fact, I even got suspended from school over it, and that was like stuff I was really into as a kid.
So there was players that were common.
Oh yeah.
Right? That you, no matter how many packs you bought, you're going to get a bunch of whoever it was, Bo Jackson or whoever it would have been, at the time. And then there were the ones that weren't that common, which is why they were worth more money, because there weren't as many of them that were printed. So I think they've been doing this for a very long time.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't use baseball cards as the analogy, but Magic the Gathering is certainly an analogy. That is built-in artificial scarcity that the manufacturer created.
Well, you're just saying don't use baseball cards because you don't know whether they were manufactured to be scarce. And I'm telling you, even as somebody who wasn't a baseball card fan, that they were.
That's what you believe.
He's the guy who was the fan, dude. Listen to Jay.
I bought them too. I had baseball.
And didn't you get the same cards over and over again and never get the Babe Ruth or whatever it was, the one that you really wanted?
Babe Ruth didn't play baseball when I was
whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Reggie Jackson. I had several of his cards, and he was a huge player.
Mm-hmm.
So, he had a candy bar named after him. No, I'm not sure that that's the case. I'm not ready to say that, but I will say that some cards are harder to get than others sometimes. But I don't know that
there aren't as many printed.
Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Wednesday edition of the show. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
Ian.
You can call in, talk about whatever you want to talk about. Ian, we're talking about Llama loot boxes, which is, I guess, from a video game called Fortnite.
That's right. Yeah.
And a parent is suing the game manufacturer because they feel like their kid didn't understand the mathematics behind a loot box. And I do want to get into that, but first I want you to tell me about AnyPay.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the new AnyPay helpmetakebitcoin.com. Finally, there is an easy-to-use website that can introduce a business owner to the process they need to go through, and it's a super easy process getting started with anypay.global. But go to helpmetakebitcoin.com or send your favorite business owner to helpmetakebitcoin.com, and they will walk him or her right through the process. You sign up for anypay.global, username and password, put your cryptocurrency addresses in the back end, and then you load the app, which is now available on iOS. So it took a little while to get the iOS version out because that's the way Apple is. They have to approve everything. So Android and iOS apps are available now. It's super easy to accept Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, Zcash, and a few others as well. And they're always expanding the repertoire of different cryptocurrencies that they'll allow you to accept. But get started over at helpmetakebitcoin.com.
So you and I were talking in the break about things like baseball cards and comics and how they've the scarcity of these things has changed over time. So I worked at a comic book store basically
when you were 12, right?
Well, from the time I was 12 to the time I was 18, basically the decade of the 80s. I was working at a comic book store, and this was the modern age of comics. Everybody was excited about them. They were buying a new issue would come out, a number one issue would come out, and people would buy sometimes 10 copies, just to put them away so they'd have them and they'd be worth something. And this just kept happening.
That's what this every year. For like Christmas and my birthday, my grandmother would buy me like some special edition stack of whatever baseball cards. I have like Topps, like 1989 mint set, still in the plastic with the original $19 sticker on it. That's only worth $7.85 today. I literally just opened up the box like 2 weeks ago. My wife's like Googling how much it's worth. You could buy the thing on same exact thing on eBay for $7.85 plus shipping.
Yeah.
And then factor in inflation, and it's worth even less now.
Yeah, yeah. But people were looking at these as investments at the time because, there were things like rare Captain America #1, Superman #1, Detective Comics #27, Action Comics. Action Comics #1 was the first appearance, I believe, of Superman. I can't name anything off the top of my head from way back then any further than that. But yeah, I mean, these comics are actually scarce. So they were cheap, pulp printed comics. They deteriorated. They were used as fire kindling. They were, they're gone. They no longer exist. There's a handful of them left, and they're legitimately worth what they say they're worth. And then there's something like Secret Wars #1 from, I don't know, like 1984 or something like that. There was, hundreds of thousands of this thing printed. And maybe it's worth more than the cover price now. I wouldn't be able to tell you, but it got to the point that manufacturers realized, we put on a #1 issue, and we're going to make a bunch of money. So they were actually stopping series, Fantastic Four, Avengers, these kinds of things. They were stopping these series and restarting them with issue #1 because Avengers 337 isn't worth as much
as #1.
As #1. So they just keep on restarting sort of every few years, and they'd make some more money. They'd have 3 different variants of the cover.
Collect them all.
Yeah, get all different variants, and now they're just selling more and more and more. And comic books and baseball cards are made of paper. It's not scarce. Gold, scarce. You got to dig that up out of the ground in special places on Earth. You have to have all kinds of equipment to do it. Whereas a comic book manufacturer, not such a big deal. This is what had Marvel on the ropes. This is why Marvel sold the rights to the Fantastic Four and X-Men to movie companies. Now, they still own them for comics, but for movies, the movie companies own them. There's a reason Sony has Wolverine, and Marvel now is trying so hard to get Wolverine and the X-Men back into the fold. There's a deal on now with Sony to bring X-Men back in.
So wait, I've never followed all this.
Yep.
I know these movies exist. So you're saying the X-Men movies, Marvel's not making anything on them? They basically sold off the property to Sony years ago? I thought Fox made these movies, no?
Look, I'm not somebody's streaming at their radio right now.
Yeah.
I don't know which movie company has it, but it's not Marvel. Marvel has the Avengers, and that's about it. They're working with maybe it's Sony for Spider-Man, and maybe it's Fox for the X-Men. I'm sorry if I don't know the difference. I don't care about those characters very much. I'm an Avengers guy, but I think
they don't cross over, the X-Men and the Avengers.
Not yet. The movies haven't. Of course,
because a lot of the other movies cross over and they're related, right? Like Thor and
the Marvel movies all cross over because they're all their properties.
Right, except for
at
the
this
X-Men.
point, Spider-Man has crossed over because they've made a deal with the company that has it. I think it's Sony.
I see.
But they haven't managed to finalize their deal with the X-Men, which there will be a crossover at that point or something, because I think Marvel's bought the company or something like that. I couldn't tell you. I'm not in on this, and I didn't have a chance to study it. So I know there's great explanations on the internet of who owns what and whom.
Internet, according to cheatsheet.com, this story from 2017, so hopefully it's not too out of date. It says here that DC Warner owns all the rights to every one of its various comic book characters. Marvel's are divided among a slew of other studios. Back when the idea of a superhero franchise was unheard of, Marvel sold off a handful of characters to make a quick buck. Spider-Man went to Sony. Universal snagged Namor.
That's Submariner. He's Marvel's version of the Aquaman, and he was first before Aquaman.
And 20th Century Fox made out with Fantastic Four, Daredevil, and the X-Men. Daredevil has since reverted back to its original owners at Marvel Studios, but the X-Men and Fantastic Four remain firmly in the hands of Fox.
That is correct.
Okay.
I'm curious as to who has Blade at this point. So Blade was a very successful movie franchise.
New Line was the production house behind Blade, if I recall correctly. I don't know if that means they own it, but
I don't either.
Yeah.
Marvel hasn't expressed too much of an interest in revitalizing Blade, but man, Wesley Snipes did a fantastic job on that franchise.
Have you seen all 3 of them?
I saw 2, the first 2.
Watch the third one. It's actually really good.
Is that Trinity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if you say it's worth it, then I shall. I actually have it at the house right now, so perhaps I will do just that. So when we're talking about these, we were talking about collectibles and those sorts of things. Scarcity was artificial in this arena, and basically now I can read any comic I want. I can go get Marvel Unlimited for $60 a year, and that's the
Is that an online version or something?
Yes.
Yeah, but who wants to do that?
What do you mean?
Are you into that?
Listen to me.
Reading them online?
Listen to me.
There's people that are like, who wants to have paper and you're hanging around?
$60 a year to read this on my iPad versus cover price of $1.75, $1.50, $1.25.
Well, they got to be more than that by now.
Well,
for a comic book, it's probably $3 to $5 for a comic book.
No, I don't think it's that much. I mean, certainly some of them are, but not the regular monthly issues.
Oh,
I wouldn't think they were that. But
how long has it been since you bought a physical comic book?
A few years.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just doesn't make financial sense. I can go read any comic I want for $60 a month, as many as I want. Doesn't make any sense. Free Talk Live.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon you'll need a plan and place to survive. Forget bunkers. You're not a live underground gopher. You need survivalist camps, the ultimate fully functional, off-the-grid mobile survival bug-out house that's well-equipped and custom-built to outlast any other RV or trailer. Bold statement? You bet. See them now at survivalistcamps.com. That's survivalistcamps.com. Trust your family's survival to survivalistcamps.com.
Complement your health with hemp-derived cannabinoid oil. We've always believed that the closer to Earth, the better it is for our bodies. Our hemp-derived cannabinoid oil is phytocannabinoid-rich, full-spectrum, and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape. It's now available at GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Wednesday edition. Mark with you.
Jay.
Ian.
You can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. Be happy to hear from you. The number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450, free as in freedom. And Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for all things crypto. If you're not familiar with this stuff, even if you are familiar with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin.com is a one-stop shop. They've got everything you need. You go there, you can get a wallet, meaning the application in which to create a Bitcoin account. You can get some. You can use their faucet to get some Bitcoin Cash to put in the wallet. You can use save@purse.com, and you can spend the stuff you get. You can buy Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. Whatever you need to do. It's Bitcoin.com, and I just mentioned save@purse.com. By the way, Bitcoin.com would love you to go there and spend your hard-earned Bitcoin. So, and you'll have savings of between 25 and 30%. Learn more. And by the way, you can see all the newest news there at news.bitcoin.com. You can learn more at bitcoin.com.
I just got at saveatpurse.com, I got a remote starter for my car.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Who installed it?
Nobody. You just the remote start was already there. I mean, the actual fob, the key fob thing.
Okay.
I lost one a couple of years ago, and so finally got the replacement for it, and it was like $20 brand new, but I knocked 20 or 30% off.
Yeah, I've thought about getting one of those. Yeah. I'd probably push the button and then forget that I started the car and shut itself off.
Oh, so you don't have that feature in your fancy new car? A remote start?
No remote start.
I'm surprised.
But it's super easy to install in that fancy new car.
I bet it is.
Is that so?
Super easy. I'll tell you about it in a break.
All right, excellent. Let's go to Sarah calling in from New Mexico. We'll get back to these llama loot boxes here in just a second.
Well, I'm glad Sarah called in because I've been wondering, Sarah, what is your favorite comic book franchise?
Sarah, do you have a favorite comic book franchise?
I do not read any of the comic books, you know. I never had any interest in it because I'm too busy passing out the Who's Who's political directory. You
never had a Wonder Woman comic when you were a little girl?
I used to read some comic when I was younger, but I've never been too much of a reader. Reading has never been my thing, so I never was really into that.
Okay,
you know?
Because that's how you absorb new information and learn things in a lot of ways is reading. So that's a shame. That's too bad.
Yeah. What about these directories you're handing out? I mean, don't people have to read those things?
Oh, yeah, but it's very interesting because it has all of our contacts to our representatives and senators in Santa Fe, and they're in session right now. So, you do have to read it, but we could contact them, and so we got 2 more weeks of session, so I've been telling them to push the cigarette, pushed it to 21 years or older. I've been excited about that.
So you're handing out these directories and handing them to people with the admonition that they call their representatives and demand that people who are not between the ages of 18 and 21 be disallowed from buying cigarettes?
Well, the thing is, I talked to them first. I would approach them. Did you know that they want to increase the smoking age to 21? And if they say, well, that's wonderful. And then I would say, well, did you know that you could, all the phone numbers and email addresses are printed in this booklet put on by the League of Women's Voters.
So you keep the booklet to yourself if they say something else like, those darn politicians meddling in my life.
Well, yeah. Wouldn't
Well,
you?
you know, I don't push it. I just walk away. Well, thank you very much. And then I just go to the next one, you know?
Well, that's your agenda.
That's the way to do it, Sarah.
Yeah, I hear there's money to be made as petitioners. Why wouldn't you go do some of that? I mean, surely all the good folks at the Democratic Party and somewhere in New Mexico there, they want to have people doing petitions, right?
Well, this is not about money. This is just for free. It's volunteer. I'm just having these pamphlets are just laying around, sitting at the library, and I walked by it. I looked at it for 10 years, and I had no idea what was in it.
So
and,
here,
it was.
So you should. You're doing this. You're doing this work, Sarah. You should make some money. And here's how they do it in Massachusetts. And I've never participated, but I've been told that you go work for a political party doing their stuff, and this will work really good for you if it's done the same way, because they won't like mess with your disability, but they actually give you like a prepaid like Visa gift card or something to like do this work, and you're paid like, I don't know, $15 or $12 an hour or something, but nobody really keeps track of your hours. You just kind of tell them, and then they give you a gift card to go out when you go in payment to go out and like peddle some ideas or knock on doors or hand out pamphlets. So you should look into taking advantage of that. I'm sure
you're doing it for
they
free
got money
now.
for it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm not interested in making money. That's not my goal. My goal is to get the cigarette age increased to 21.
Well, once that happens, how do you benefit?
How do I benefit? Let's say I'm thinking maybe 30,000 kids will get addicted. You know, if they left it alone, if they could start smoking at 18, that's more secondhand smoke.
Wait a second. They right now, most people who smoke got addicted before the age of 18, which is the legal age to get to buy cigarettes. So apparently the law isn't working already. Why do you think it's going to make a difference?
Well, to me, it will make a difference because it's a societal attitude. Everybody will know.
But if the societal attitude is not to smoke, then what difference? Like, you know, already the societal attitude is don't smoke. I mean, it's not the same as it was when I was 16 years old in high school, where people actually thought people who smoked were cool. They do not think that any longer.
So what you're saying is that people change their minds through other reasons besides the government raising the age?
Right. It's not the law that makes a difference. It's the societal attitude.
I used to ask people who smoked all the time, when did you start smoking? It was just always something I asked.
13, 12.
I have never, ever, ever had anyone answer, well, my 18th birthday. I was able to buy cigarettes and
My dad
porn.
got me a pack of cigarettes for my 18th birthday.
Right, that just doesn't happen.
I mean, all my buddies that smoked cigarettes back in high school, or smoked cigarettes today that I knew back in high school, were all smoking cigarettes in high school.
Yep. I knew one guy who he was a non-smoker who went into the Navy, and because the Navy gave smoke breaks, all of his buddies were always going on smoke breaks, and he had to go to cover their work, so he decided to start smoking too, and so he could go hang out with his buddies rather than having to work. But that's an issue of employer law, as opposed to an issue of when somebody could buy cigarettes or not.
Well, I mean, to me, you guys don't think it would make any difference, but to me, that it will make a difference.
It's a guess.
It's only in your head.
What it's going to do is it's going to...
It's harder. Instead of an 18-year-old just walking in the door and buying a cigarette from Circle K, now they have to wait 21. It makes it harder.
Now they have to wait until
difficult.
someone who's 21 or older walks by, and then they will ask them to help them buy some cigarettes.
It's just going to create a black market for the people who are under 21 is all it's going to do.
If they if they were getting cigarettes at 16 or 15, which they likely were, if they're smoking at 18, they were likely getting the cigarettes at 16 or 15. They're just going to do it the same way that they'd always been doing it up to 21. They're going to get it the same way they get their beer, the same way they get their liquor. You don't imagine for a second that fewer people are drinking as a result of raising the drinking age from 19 to 21, do you, Sarah? That happened in your lifetime.
And it's more...
Yeah, but you do have to... I've been asked to buy beer for somebody else because they don't have ID or whatever. I've been asked for that, but here's the thing.
What'd you do?
I never did it, but the thing is, if you make it difficult, the more you give stumbling blocks and you make it harder, the less they will do it.
Well, the less they'll
easier it
smoke,
is-
perhaps. I mean, there'll probably be fewer cigarettes consumed, but they'll want to get the cigarettes that they do consume that much more. You might very well be making the addiction worse by making people want the cigarettes more because they can't get as many as they want.
Anybody who wanted alcohol when I was in high school was able to get it.
Yeah. Alcohol, I think it's harder to get alcohol than it is to get, like, marijuana in high school. At least it was for me. Thanks for the call, Sarah. Appreciate it.
You know,
855-450-3733.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today, the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Homemakers. Groceries by mail ships free. Try our amazing bacon. It stores in your pantry. No refrigeration required. Our value-added packaging provides a 10-year shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Always priced less than grocery for your everyday use. Savory and delicious. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live's live Wednesday edition You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind here on Free Talk Live. We're talking about a lawsuit that's been filed surrounding this game Fortnite and I guess bad mathematics amongst young people. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Ian.
Ian, go on with these Llama loot boxes.
Yeah, so Fortnite is, of course, for those that aren't familiar, an incredibly popular game that became so popular because, well, it was free. So, in fact, that's one of the allegations that they make here.
No, it wasn't, but all right.
Wait, it wasn't?
There's no such thing as free. Sorry, there's nothing free on the internet.
Sure there is.
No,
I mean,
it's just as free as Facebook, right?
Yeah, well,
you got to pay for the internet connection, but I mean, the game's free to download.
So there's going to be there's free to download, but then it's either advertising supported or it's supported by
you being the product.
These loot. Well, in the case of the game, they don't collect as much information usually. I mean, they can get some of your information, but not too much. But
yeah, they don't have
they get
anything about you.
A lot of these games get most of their revenue from in-game purchases.
Sure,
it's not free.
Well, but you can play the game without doing the in-game purchases.
You can.
Is there a Fortnite app that I can put on my phone?
I don't know. I doubt it. It is a 3D game, so you probably have to have a computer that has some level of oomph to it, although phones are beefier now than they've ever been. I'm not a phone gamer, so I can't really speak to what games
The only
are
thing I'm
available
getting to is I know, like, if you have like a Facebook app on your phone, and you're talking about how, I need some new snow tires for my truck.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time you open up Facebook and you scroll down, snow
There's an
tires
advertisement.
from blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
You know, is
It's
Fortnite
listening
doing
to
a,
you.
serious,
Yeah.
a similar thing with monitoring your action on your computer or something?
No, I doubt that very much. That is highly unlikely. But what they are trying to do is sell things inside the game. You're right about that, Mark. In fact, don't you play a Jewel game, one of those puzzle games constantly?
I play Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Right. It's like the same game, but they've put a Marvel skin on it, basically, that other people play.
Yeah, there's a bit more to it than that, but yeah.
But there are several variants of kind of the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can get into that game for free, right?
You can, but there are a lot of in-game purchases, and the payers do a hell of a lot better than the players.
Can you have fun without paying?
I'm not. I'm the games these days. I'm not even sure they're designed around fun anymore. Games are about addiction. They're about being designed in such a way that you get this kind of little dopamine squirt.
And they want you to. They want to offer you all these in-game purchases to feed that addiction.
Yes.
My character's not good enough. I need to upgrade my character so I can be more competitive with these other players. There's this constant keeping up with the Joneses, right? It's sort of the digital equivalent of keeping up with your next-door neighbor's yard, And so, again, I'm saying that is free because you can get into the game and you can play it for free. I downloaded Fortnite and I played it for probably an hour or two, and I didn't buy a thing. And then I uninstalled.
So is it a massively online multiplayer video game? Is that one of these? Is that what it is?
So as I understand the history of the game, it was actually originally like a zombie survival game or something like that. And then they introduced this, what they call the Battle Royale mode. And this is what made the game take off, where essentially everybody's familiar with the Hunger Games books and movies, right?
Yeah.
This was a huge phenomenon. The idea was these characters are put into a place and they have to fight it out to the death, right? To the last man standing, basically, or the last two are standing.
They didn't fight each other necessarily.
In the Hunger Games?
Necessarily in the Hunger
they were.
Games.
That's all those movies were.
I thought they were like battling beasties or something.
There might have been some beasts at some points, but I only seen the movies once. But
God, I need to see it again.
The whole point of the movie was that they picked, in the Hunger Games, diverging here from the original point, in the Hunger Games, they had different districts that were under this sort of
12 of them.
Yeah, they were under this dictatorial rule, and they
three of the districts were the ringers, and the other 9 districts were the underdogs.
They would basically find 2, male and a female, from each of the districts, and they threw them into a battle till the death. Essentially, was what that was all about. Now, toward the end, it started to be that they would team up against the dictator or whatever toward the end, but. In the very beginning, that's what it was. So this is kind of like the video game version of that, except with 100 players. So you start with 100 people. There's an airplane that flies you into the map, and everybody drops out of the airplane. They parachute down into the map, and then you're just sort of wherever you end up in the map, basically. You can kind of guide your shoot down towards where you want to be. And as soon as you hit the ground, it's who
they
can
can't
last
shoot you
the
out of the
longest.
air?
I think they actually can shoot you out of the air.
Okay.
But it's whoever can last the longest. And also there's this circle, this sort of active circle that closes in on a random spot on the map. And so if you get caught outside of the circle, you die. So
but you know whether or not the circle's closing in, right?
Yeah, right. So you know where it's going to be, and so you have to head in that direction. And so it forces all the players to kind of move toward the same
instead
spot.
of getting up in a tree and hiding.
Exactly. So it stops people from doing what they call camping in these games, and that is to say hiding and waiting till everybody else dies. So that's the game, and it just for whatever reason, it's free, it's well made, and people enjoyed it. Plus, it also has a building aspect to it, so I think the people that are into things like Minecraft kind of really like this game, and to me, that's what I didn't like about the game, because I'm not into that. But you can also build platforms and things like that. So, if there's like a cliff over in the distance, you can build a platform to get you up on the cliff. You don't have to look around to find out how you're supposed to get up there. So it kind of adds different things that you could do in that game that you couldn't do in a normal point-and-shoot kind of first-person shooter.
So what's this lawsuit about?
I'm going to read you the introduction from the actual class action suit here. Point number 1, because you know how they in lawsuits, they always have their points.
Yes.
Point 1. Rising to the forefront in a multi-billion-dollar video game industry, Epic, that's the game company, has perfected a predatory scheme whereby it exploits players, including minors, by inducing them to purchase in-game loot boxes in the pursuit of the best in-game schematics, heroes, and survivors, collectively, loot. 2. As part of its scheme, Epic offers Fortnite Save the World at a lower price point than competitor video games to entice players to start playing the game, with the goal of luring those players to make in-game microtransactions that generate significant revenue for Epic. 3. Because Fortnite Save the World's game progression is inextricably linked to loot progression, players are pushed to keep seeking better loot to progress in the game. 4. That's the keeping up with the Joneses thing, right?
Sure.
4. Accordingly, Epic.
Well, everybody wants to play a game. They want to get, they want it to be easier. They want progression.
Right, and I don't know if this game does the sort of what some games do with newer players is they only put newer players in a map with newer players.
Makes sense.
I don't know if this game does that, which would mean that the people who have the best loot and the most experience
are then fighting the people with the best loot and more experience.
But I don't know if that's the case.
Probably
in this game. If you know more, you're welcome to call and share it with us at 855-450-FREE, and I'm sure there's plenty of our listeners that know
how
way
young
more.
was the person in this this situation?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. All I could think of when they were talking about this predatory thing was how they're asking 17 and 18-year-olds to take on $100,000 in debt to go to college. And, I mean, you want to talk about a scam? Microtransactions, my foot. These are, people that don't have any acumen whatsoever, have just left government school being told that the only way they're going to make money is by getting going to get a master's degree from some university someplace.
So they can go teach in a government school and get on a government pension.
Right.
Ponzi scheme it to the max.
Right. Whether they make a heck of a lot more money by spending $6,000 at the local vocational technical institution, getting a real skill and going out and getting a job, rather than those that run off and get underwater basket weaving degrees.
Number 4. Accordingly, Epic designed Fortnite Save the World to effectively limit a player's ability to progress within the game without spending money on loot boxes. 5. The scheme plays out perfectly to the benefit of Epic. Once players are sufficiently invested in the game, Epic induces players to purchase loot boxes in order to get better loot, which results in massive revenue to Epic. 6. Epic has made a fortune on in-game purchases, preying in large part on minors, who are especially susceptible to such predatory tactics.
So this lady gave her son a telephone and let him download whatever he wanted to on that telephone, and now it's Epic's fault that he has developed this little habit of paying to play.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a phone. I mean, it could have been just giving him the credit card or whatever you have.
Oh, so it's not a phone game. Okay.
That was the question Jay asked. And,
I'm sorry.
And I didn't have a good answer on that.
Okay. But when you did it, you downloaded on the regular laptop.
No, I don't play games on a laptop. I mean, you could do it on a laptop probably, but I needed to have a video card, like a graphic card, in order to play this game.
Sorry, just missed that part.
That's not to say there isn't some version that I don't know about. But either way, even if it's on your phone, you still have to authorize purchases, right? Like you have to put a credit card in. You have to authorize that the credit card.
Either way, they authorize. Yeah, I mean, right. She's taking no responsibility for parenting here.
That's what I was going to say. This should be an opportunity for a parent. When your son or daughter comes to you and like, hey, I want a loot box. Give me a Llama loot box. That's your time to, if you don't know what a loot box is, learn about it and then have a conversation with your kid about why this is a scam. Like, hey, this probably isn't the best way to spend your lawn mowing money.
Make the kid work for the money so they understand it.
Right. There's more coming up here. Free Talk Live.
Many people believe they don't control their own destiny because they haven't chosen to take the first step towards the life they've always dreamed of. Let them continue just getting by while you make the choice to do something about your future. Imagine working from home, earning the income you deserve. Start small or dream big. Work part-time or full-time. You choose the pace. Just visit startlivingyoung.com. That's startlivingyoung.com. And click on the Be Your Own Boss tab. Discover Juness, a state-of-the-art global health products company that spent 5 years on the Inc. 5,000 fastest-growing private companies in America list. With over $1 billion a year in sales, they'll provide all the tools you need to thrive and succeed. And you'll be blown away by how little it takes to get started. Visit startlivingyoung.com today and click on the Be Your Own Boss tab at the top of the page. 2019 will be the year your new life begins. Your destiny awaits at startlivingyoung.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 6, 2019. Gold opened the day at $1,286. Silver opened at $15.08. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,841. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, a leak of internal Facebook documents reveals that the company has conducted a global lobbying campaign against data privacy legislation, targeting politicians around the world with promises of investments and incentives. That's according to a report in The Guardian. Activist Post reports that the documents in question appear to have leaked from a sealed California court case against Facebook by app developer 643. The documents reveal that COO Sandberg felt that European data protection legislation was a critical threat to the company. Following the 2013 Davos Economic Summit, Sandberg described in a memo the uphill battle faced in Europe on the data privacy front regarding overly prescriptive new laws. The leaked documents also reveal the company's great relationship with then Irish Prime Minister Enda Kenny, one of many prominent politicians described as one of the friends of Facebook. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybrainbotanicals.com. And Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% off your purchase by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 6, 2019. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. A bill filed in the Texas Senate would set the foundation to nullify federal gun control in practice and effect. Senator Bob Hall, a Republican from Edgewood, Texas, filed Senate Bill 378 January 17. The bill would prohibit any state government agency, personnel, or public funds from enforcing any federal gun control regulation or law if the federal statute, order, rule, or regulation, or international law imposes a prohibition, restriction, or other regulation, such as a capacity, size, or configuration limit, that does not exist under the laws of the state. State agencies and local governments would not be allowed to receive state grant money if they adopt any regulation that requires enforcement of federal gun control laws that do not mirror in state law. The Free Thought Project reports a person in the affected jurisdiction would be permitted to file a lawsuit with the state attorney general. American Jews, including prominent figures like Naomi Klein, have signed an open letter in support of Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. The Anti-Media reports the letter states that she has been falsely accused of anti-Semitism and that there was nothing anti-Semitic about calling out the noxious role of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee in American politics. The letter went on to say that the pro-Israel lobby has played an outsized role in producing nearly unanimous congressional support for Israel. The letter finished by saying that, quote, "We thank Ilhan Omar for having the bravery to shake up the congressional taboo against criticizing Israel. As Jews with a long tradition of social justice and anti-racism, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee does not represent us." The letter then called on other Jews to provide their signatures. Support for Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Merle reporting for the Liberty Beat on Wednesday, March 6, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Bruce Springsteen completed his new sci-fi concept album Red Dust, which explores the lives of struggling 23rd century carbonite miners on Mars. The 14 tracks on the album address a range of everyday trials and tragedies faced by blue-collar Martian men, simply trying to put food on the table for their embryonically harvested juvenile clones while living under the hypocrisies of a corrupt planetary federation. In business, top financial experts have indicated that any hope of recovery for the struggling U.S. economy rests solely on Spokane, Washington resident Bill Laughlin, who is currently browsing the power tools section at Sears. At 10:10 this morning, Laughlin investigated a scroll saw which sent stocks soaring nearly 300 points. 15 minutes later, with Laughlin straying away to try on sunglasses, Congress called an emergency joint session to offer Sears tax breaks in exchange for sending an experienced salesman over to help. In other news, a local man pushes the 4 millionth button of his life, and an area teenager is smoking like he's been to f***ing war or something.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, kicking off the third hour of Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Ian.
And I've got a story to start us out with here is this guy who's suing his parents for giving birth to him. From The Guardian, Raphael Samuel, a 27-year-old anti-natalist from Mumbai, believes it was wrong for his mother and father to create him without his consent. So this kind
he's
of...
from Mumbai, but where is he suing?
Well, the article's from The Guardian, and he's It says he's from Mumbai, so
maybe it's in Mumbai.
He's struggling for another handout, isn't he?
I read this a couple of weeks ago, so I don't have everything committed to memory. But he's 27 years old, and well, I mean, nobody consents to birth. So the only way to find out whether somebody consents to birth is by giving birth to them, right? So it's kind of a strange thing.
It's ridiculous, is what it is.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's correct, right? He did not consent.
Yeah.
he can do something about that.
Yeah, he could kill himself.
Right. So I support his right to do that.
Yeah.
But I think that would be the only thing. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that you can really get here is that the pain and suffering for being alive. Well, you can fix that.
Yep.
Sounds like a brat kid. I didn't have to be born.
Sounds totally entitled.
Yeah. So this is written in a very strange way. It's got his name here, his age here, appearance, alive and regretting it. Why? Because he didn't ask to be born. Well, neither did I, as it happens. No, but you probably aren't planning to sue your parents for giving birth to you. I am not. Is he? Well, he claims to be. According to reports, Samuel from Mumbai is a committed anti-natalist. What a coincidence.
Anti-natalist.
I hate those classes, too. Anti-natalism is a system of belief that holds that it is morally wrong for people to procreate, and a vast amount of human misery could be avoided by people simply not existing in the first place. It's a pretty simplistic way of solving the problem of human misery.
To eliminate humans.
To eliminate humans.
Start with yourself. Start with yourself, buddy.
Yeah.
I think more people are happy to be alive than not happy to be alive.
They certainly don't seem to want to die, as the same as seems to be the case for Raphael Samuel. Otherwise, he would have done something about it. Right.
Well, it's a lot easier to complain than to do something.
If nothing else, it sounds like a philosophical school with a self-limiting membership. It is actually a growing movement with adherents across the globe.
The anti-natalists?
Yeah. I suspect most of them are trolls.
It's so hard to tell who actually really believes the things that they're saying.
Right. I mean,
on the internet.
The Flat Earth Society used to be a joke. And then we found people that actually believe the globe is flat.
Yeah, they have conventions where they get together. Now, at least in real life, you could look somebody in the eyes, and maybe you could get a feel as to whether or not they're putting you on.
Right.
But on the internet, man,
much harder. When you say across the globe, do you mean on Facebook and YouTube? Yes, but antinatalism is a long respected pedigree. Forms of it crop up in sects of Buddhism and Christianity, and more than one philosopher has argued that the optimal outcome for humanity is extinction. All of which falls short of suing your parents for having you. Yes, that would appear to be Samuel's unique contribution to the debate. What is his thinking exactly? I love my parents, he writes on Facebook, and we have a great relationship, but they had me for their joy and their pleasure.
Well, that's true.
Selfish bastards.
He's right about that, though. I mean, that's absolutely why people have children, right? It's for their own personal projects and reasons.
It's
and
programmed in your DNA.
That's the reason, is that we have it programmed in our DNA to procreate. There's some of us are unnatural aliens that don't have this desire, but the vast majority of us really do.
I mean, I've always wanted to be a dad, but I've definitely know of women that have been like really hell-bent on having a kid. Well, even so much as, like, if you're not going to knock me up, I'm going to find a man that will, kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Samuel apparently believes it was wrong for his parents to go ahead and create him without his consent. They were hardly in a position to ask him for it. He was hardly in a position to give it. They could not. Could they not seek some kind of retroactive planning permission from him? He does not seem that. He doesn't seem. It doesn't seem that inclined to compromise. He continues, isn't forcing a child into this world and then forcing it to have a career, kidnapping and slavery? I knew it. I knew this was about these damn young people on the internet. Like, I hate that life's about having it. Why is life so expensive? How come I can't have my latte for free?
Yeah. Well, then they don't want to work either.
Right.
He's forced to get a job, is what he says.
Forced to get a job, yes.
And this actually comes around to what one of our callers had complained about in the past, Greg from New York, claiming that he is forced, that he's not at liberty to do whatever it is he wants to do because he has to work, right? That there's this force, basically, that you have to work, you have to do these things. Not really. You could always just become a hobo. You could wander out into the forest and, catch some squirrels and lizards and try to cook them and, survive that way if you wanted to. You don't have to work.
Well, in modern society, there's free money to be had if you wish to have it. All you have to do is look. What TJ the Spy was on some kind of government dole. He attempted to do it in here in New Hampshire, and it was very limited. But in his home state of Illinois,
food stamps, I think,
it was quite available for a very long period of time. And so, you don't have to. You can look at Sarah, the caller who just called in. She's got an Obama phone, and she gets her little disability for whatever mental illness she claims to have.
Yep.
And then she goes about doing work that she's interested in doing.
All you gotta do is put on a nightgown and a wig, take a hairdryer, and go rob a bank. And when the cops show up, tell them the voices in your head told you to do this, and then you won't have to work at a gas station anymore and get 30% of your pay taken by the government, and the other 30% taken by your ex-wife.
3 hots in a cot.
You got nothing left. Oh, yeah, so you go to the psych ward for a month for an evaluation.
Free meds.
And then you get out and you're on disability, Social Security, you get housing assistance, and you get food stamps. And I have a friend who did exactly that, and he's a paranoid schizophrenic, but he'll tell you he's not a paranoid schizophrenic unless the government's listening.
In which case he is.
And then and then he said, well, this is my activism. This is how and it was a child support that pushed him over the point.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, if you can't earn enough money to live at some point or another, you're going to be driven to it. I suspect you could just do it, right? Just decide, I suspect I could do some research online. How do I go about getting food stamps and all the government assistance and stuff like that?
There's guides that you can buy.
I'm sure you could get. I'm sure they're free on the internet if you just look. You go and check these things out. Probably. A good 40 hours, so I take next week and I begin researching this, a good 40 hours worth of research, and then I just stop working.
Yeah,
just refuse to work and follow through on the guide, and pretty soon I'm in pretty good shape. I probably don't even have to spend any time in a psych ward.
Google the symptoms of paranoid schizophrenia, and they'll have you right in there.
Well, I mean that's just one of them. Surely there are other there's other mental illnesses that pay just as well, but big deal. So anyway, this guy, on one hand, it sounds absolutely bananas. On the other, my 15-year-old self would be 100% behind Samuel, as the writer says here. He also writes, the only reason your children are facing problems is because you had them. So there you go. Anti-natalism as, I guess, activism.
It's the first time I've heard of the term, and there's a story over at the New Yorker, the case for not being born.
It doesn't make any sense to me because you can turn life around relatively quickly. It doesn't take much. A garage, is a relatively easy way to take care of it, and I'm sure there's a variety of other ways. I don't endorse any of them. I believe suicide's a coward's way out. However, if you really hate life, there are solutions to the problem. 855-450-3733. 855-450 free, as in freedom. Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. TheMorganReport.com. TheMorganReport.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
With job numbers near historic lows, Forbes magazine has released a list of tips for finding a job, all of which involve witnessing an employer murder someone. Forbes says despite the grim economy, employers are still hungry for talented workers who know how important it is to forget about whatever they think they saw or heard.
So me and a couple of friends were out smoking at the Viaduct the other day, and we saw this really rich guy in a Mercedes pull up in his car and drop nothing. Now I'm the Vice President of International Development.
According to Goldman Sachs CEO Lloyd Blankfein, we had a great quarter and hired hundreds of new employees. I haven't done anything wrong, and all my employees will tell you the same thing because that's the deal we had. But the article warns that stumbling onto a coke-fueled CEO strangling a prostitute isn't a foolproof method for finding work because employers are just as likely to murder you as they are to hire you.
This is the Onion News Network.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live Wednesday edition. Mark with you.
Jay.
And Ian.
Call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. I want to tell you about ForkFest 2019. Did you miss ForkFest 2018? Well, you can start planning now to attend ForkFest 2019. You can join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians this summer from June the 13th through the 18th for ForkFest 2019 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest is a fork of another camping party in the woods, and you're invited to come and create whatever experience you'd like to have. ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one's in charge, so it's up to you to create what happens. Like you, Jay, you're creating what, man camp there, right?
Yeah, it's man camp is what I'm creating, and I really want to make...
Real quick, go find out more at forkfest.party.
I really want to make ForkFest pretty awesome. I want, and Ernie Hancock and I have been talking a lot about this, and we've been working on all kinds of things. And in fact, speaking of Ernie Hancock, I'm going to be on his show pretty much most of the days next week because I'm going to be hanging out with him and Derek up in we're working up there in Maine up at Derek's place. But anyways, and that's Derek Slopey from Agorist Hosting. Anyways,
and Ernie's show is called Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Yeah, it's on at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time on LRN.FM. And anyways, what Man Camp is my idea to restore confidence in mankind is what this is really about. And so I got a blacksmithing shop, and I like blacksmithing. And there's a lot of really easy blacksmithing things that can be created. Like I was telling people about, like the Mother's Day gift thing I'm working on. Make a towel holder for the bathroom for mom. And 7-8-year-old kid can do this with a little help from dad and a little help from me, or whoever else wants to help them do it. And then they can weld together a coat rack or make a wind chime or all kinds of stuff. But at Man Camp at Fork Fest, we're gonna have I got a girl who's been doing some blacksmithing. She's a good friend of mine, and she's gonna teach a knife making class where you're gonna walk away with your own knife, for example.
Sweet, I want to do that.
And it's going to be limited to maybe 6 or 7 people. It's going to cost some money, $150, $100. We're not sure yet, but she's going to bring all the proper tool steel, and she's going to have everything there. And you're going to probably spend about 2 to 4 hours making your knife. And it's not going to be the most awesome knife in the world, because most people, it's going to be the first time they're really doing this stuff. And then we're going to have some kids activities. We're going to have like an introduction to tool identification, for example. Very few people know what a difference between a 1/4-inch ratchet and a 3/8 ratchet. And we're going to have a get-together, talk about sharpening chainsaws and playing what kind of chainsaws we like. I've been kind of working on a whole Man Camp schedule for Fork Fest. And we're going to talk about just man stuff. Like everybody in New Hampshire, for example, should own a chainsaw and know how to use it and know how to sharpen it. And by letting these kids,
you save a lot of money by being able to sharpen your own saw.
Absolutely. And by having these young kids come, and we're going to do a kids thing where the kids can just make some simple things. Basically, it's going to be like a couple hours every day. I want to do like a kids camp where the kids can come and just do some forge work, pound a little iron.
It's empowering. Once they can do one thing, they can do lots of things.
Well, the idea that they're going to be able to, like, for this towel hanger that they can make, that they can put in the bathroom, they can look at the thing every day as they grow up and literally be like, I made that, and they can be proud of themselves. And then they can start, the sooner that they start to understand. And when I say 5 and 6-year-old kids doing this, I am dead serious about 5 and 6-year-old kids doing this, because that's when 5 and 6-year-old kids are a pain in the butt, because they're super curious. They want to get into things. And what has been happening for the past couple of decades, when I was a kid, they were, pop a couple Ritalin and put them in front of the television.
Yeah.
And now it's, devices, and parents are overwhelmed, or they're overworked, or they're lazy, or one thing or the other. And not everybody grew up on a farm like I did. And I want to give this opportunity to this local community here. And this is something I hope just to make popular and spread, where other people can do this everywhere, because we need to build confidence in the future generation. And confidence is so huge, because there's 2 kinds of people, as far as I'm concerned, that mostly want government. Those who lack confidence and feel they need to be taken care of, and those who are psychopaths that want to rule people are the ones who really want government, in my opinion. And I want to, if we have more confident people in the future, there's going to be less desire for a government to tell them what to do.
Forkfest.party.
I'm going.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really exciting. Let's go to David, calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, yeah. First of all, Mark, if you remember, you mentioned, you guys said Switzerland was rated second freest in the world presently off of whatever you were looking at. And let me remind you that and this fits in what I called about as well, but let me remind you that when I lived in Switzerland for a year, and I had related to you that when cops get out of line in Switzerland, which they never do, because when they do, one dark night, half a dozen guys will beat the tar out of them, and they learn that to not oppress people.
Huh, never heard that.
So that's it. Pardon?
No,
where?
I hadn't heard that.
Oh, yeah, I had said or mentioned it on air on your program one night. And, let me give you another analogy. There was this comes under the heading of the sheriffs in New Mexico are expressing publicly that they're not going to follow the laws that are, if the Democrat, the whole state is Democrat right now. The Congress, the House, the Senate, the governor, all of the statewide offices, and all of our national representation. It's all
always
Democrat.
bad. Whenever you have in any legislative body, you've got the same party throughout the sides. They get a lot of stuff done, and none of it's good.
Yeah. So virtually all of the sheriffs in the state, which are and all of the rural ones, it's only a couple urban ones that are holding out, have said that they're not going to spend resources to enforce those laws because they consider them to be in violation of higher law. Yeah, and those sheriffs, they're 24 of the 33 counties, and 24 county commissions of the 30 sheriffs that have said they're not going to follow this. The county commissions in those 24 counties have backed up their sheriffs and have actually voted to make their counties a Second Amendment sanctuary county where those state laws are not to be enforced using county resources. And about 10 municipalities, city councils, have also voted on saying the same thing, that in their cities, their city cops are not to enforce those state laws on the red flag laws on guns. And
that's a really interesting point, David, is that many of these municipalities have to pay to enforce a law that was passed by a different legislative body than their own. Why should they have to do that? That's fascinating. Right.
So they're not going to. And let me throw in, and I bring that up as a, one, it's notable, and two, it's a model for resisting the government that we have, because, frankly, I mean, on its face, the government that we have at the national level and other levels, but at the national level, is completely illegitimate because it in no way, shape, form comes anywhere near adhering to the founding documents of the country, which are a contrast.
You're absolutely right. With the Second Amendment, thank you for the call, David. With the Second Amendment, it's pretty clear that it says there shall be no law that it shall not be infringed, and they're infringing it. Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Do you feel like many of us? All the distractions in the world taking our minds and focus off what really needs to get done day to day? Well, Janess has a dietary supplement called Mind to help with mental distraction, and it supports memory function. Go to gcnlife.com now to check it out. You're only at your best when your mind is at its best. Go to gcnlife.com or call toll-free 844-443-6637. That's gcnlife.com or 844-443-6637.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live Wednesday edition. Mark with you.
Jay.
Ian.
You can call in and talk about whatever is on your mind, but what's on my mind is the Free Talk Live AMP program. The AMP program helps support Free Talk Live and make it so that we can reach more people around the world with the ideas of liberty. Before we can have a world that's more free, people must understand and be able to define the terms. Free Talk Live helps that happen. And if you want to help us help others, then join the AMP program like T. Hammond did. He's an amplifier, a gold amplifier. Ian, what level is that?
It's $10 a month.
$10 a month. Now, we only ask people to be silver level, which is $5 a month, but I certainly want to thank T. Hammond for his contribution to us on a monthly basis. It's amp.freetalklive.com. I'm certain that T. Hammond and I'm certain that, Jay, you would also support people going there and signing up
Absolutely.
at amp.freetalklive.com. Ian, we are talking about this anti-natalist movement.
Yeah, and I do have an article about it, Mark, but you really ought to put, I think, Makona 512 online, because he's been waiting there on our Discord server.
The Discord, yes.
On the on-air call-in line room.
It's a good thing you're around, Ian.
And so, yeah, we should talk to him, see what
Let's
he wants to say.
talk to Makona. Sorry, Makona. My apologies.
Sorry about changing the topic a little bit. I just wanted to get back to a topic that was on in the previous hour, where they were referring to the loot box issue.
Yes, the loot boxes in what was the Fortnite is the name of the game, and there was a lawsuit that said basically my kids too bad at statistics to be able to figure out how a loot box works. Go ahead.
Yes, I basically wanted to cover it in more of a general sense, but delve into like the core of the reason like why so many people actually hate loot boxes. And the primary issue is that they truly are predatory in nature in the way that they try to fund those games. Basically, the idea is to get whales of people who can dump a lot of money into the game.
Yeah.
But the way that they do it is they're looking for people who have like an addictive personality, who are likely to be addicted to gambling, because the psychological tics that they use for loot boxes are identical to the ones that they use for slot machines. And there are no regulations on that either. So
Well,
basically, they can target
real
children
money.
as much as they want.
You don't win real money, but you spend real money on the loot boxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So because of that, what happens is they'll get children into it. And for many, like, especially with like console games and other games where it's like they may have purchased the game digitally, so their payment information is already on the account.
Right.
So now you might have a child that's using that account. They're putting their payment information is already there, so it's easy to buy the loot boxes now. And they can And if the kid doesn't know much, they could easily spend hundreds of dollars or max out a credit card by the time the parents actually find out.
Well, now hold on. There are restrictions as far as what parents can put on. You can, when you buy a game on these online systems, you can just put the card in one time and you can have it not store the card information. So if a parent is allowing their child to have full access to the full ride of the credit card, then that is totally their fault.
And
totally.
let me ask you this though, Makona. It's not that I don't disagree. I agree with you that these hit all the same triggers as addictions for gambling and these sorts of things.
Sure,
100%. This is a form of gambling. It's a dumb form, but it's a form nonetheless. However, don't you think that we all have to go through something in our lives where we're like, well, that was a terrible idea. And I'm not saying that it should be $1,000 or anything, but it does have to be a painful amount. That painful amount can be $30. It can be, $150. It just really depends on the individual. But you kind of have to have a painful billing experience to know it's a bad idea to, run up too many cell phone minutes or call your girlfriend while she's in Canada.
I remember it happened to me when I was a kid. I was logging onto CompuServe back before there was the internet. I ran up a $200 for 1 month bill on CompuServe from my parents, and they were not happy about it.
Yep. So go ahead, Makona. Please answer that question. Don't you think it has to happen?
Yeah, definitely. It's how people learn. They learn from their mistakes. I think the issue is just that, for some people, it can come too late where they may have racked up an inordinate amount of funds basically being drained from their account. At that point, it's they've probably learned a lesson, but now they're in debt.
Yeah, I think that
you can't return a loot box, right?
You can't return a loot box. There's no doubt about it, and that's sort of the point. But so my son wants to spend some money on some online game stuff, and when he does, he has to come to us. Mm-hmm. He has to give us money, his actual dollars he's earned. Then we then use the card and make it so that he can, make the purchase. But we don't leave the information on there because that would be dumb. And then he buys the thing. Every single time he does it, he gets a speech about, hey, you remember that stuff that you got in Monkey City, or you remember that thing you got in this game or that game that you don't play anymore? Remember all that stuff? It's now that money's just gone.
Can you sell these items that you get
after the fact?
Can you trade them in these games?
It depends on the game. I don't know. I can't speak to Fortnite, but I can tell you the game that I play is they're walled off. They're firewalls or whatever, and you can only buy it for yourself. You can't trade anything to you. So if I decide to quit tomorrow, playing my Marvel Puzzle Quest, none of my stuff is useful to anyone.
What you could do, so in some games you can, massively multiplayer online role-playing game, you might be able to have the bastard sword and, give it to another character who pays you for it. But in your case, Mark, if you wanted to, you could probably sell your account. So you could say, all right, I've got this
Google
badass
account.
Oh, never mind then.
It's tied to Google. Yeah. No, you couldn't do that.
If it was separate, though, if for instance, Fortnite is separate, you could
these
sell.
Games, like Makona says here, they're designed to be as predatory as possible. They don't want you, in many cases, to be able to buy and sell this stuff. There's games out there like that, and those are deep and rich games. In many cases, these other online games, they don't want to do that.
Makona, you said that there's a lot of people that hate loot boxes, and I believe you. Yeah. But obviously,
there's a deeper.
It's obvious to me that there's plenty of people that love them, right? Because these Epic Games folks are making money hand over fist on these things, and it's not just Epic Games.
Yeah, but there's a deeper issue that really leads people to really hate it, and it's because it changes the balancing of games that use them. Mm-hmm. For example, if you look at most of the games that have come out in the past few years, I'll just give one example, Middle-earth: Shadow of War. They started off with that game having loot boxes where it was effectively pay to win, even though it was a single player game. They made the grind and everything else and the difficulty to such a level that you basically had to put money into the game, or you would basically be playing the game as a full-time job to make any meaningful progress.
Yeah.
Yes. And
now hold on,
once they got rid of the loot
was that a full price game where you had to pay $60 at Wow.
Yeah, that sucks.
That's even more insulting.
Yeah. When the game players hate that when they pay for the game
and then
you have to pay for the upgrades inside the game.
So it's not a $60 game; it's a $250 game.
That's what made everybody turn on EA when their Star Wars
Battlefront.
Yeah,
right?
with their Star Wars game came out, Battlefront, because not only did you pay $60 for the game, but then you had these, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars you could have spent in game to be able to do stuff. If you wanted Luke Skywalker, you had to kick out, I don't know what it was, but some large amount of money.
Or you could grind for an inordinate amount of hours.
Right, which basically
and grinding is a term meaning you're just trying to level up, you're trying to get kills.
Grinding is a great term because it really just describes what's going on, just playing and playing and playing.
Right, playing for the sake of increased arbitrary numbers.
Yeah. They used to call it farming too.
Yeah.
So
another thing that you'll probably notice.
What's that?
Sorry. I was going to say another thing that you probably notice, and every single game that has had their loot boxes removed for one reason or another, either through legal reasons, like in Belgium, they've banned loot boxes, or through just the game developers deciding to get rid of them. In every single case, they've had to rebalance the game because all of a sudden, a lot of players would complain about how difficult it was to make any progress.
All right.
Since all of them had to be rebalanced, that shows that the loot boxes made the game they intentionally made the game worse in order so that they can sell the idea of not having to play the game, basically.
That's true.
Thanks for the expertise.
Yeah, appreciate it. 855-450-3733.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. Themorganreport.com. Themorganreport.com.
Hello, I am looking for a special soul from the GCN audience to hire to come to East Ridge, Tennessee and take care of 2 peaceful, easygoing people, which are a sweet 95-year-old woman and her 60-year-old son. Terms would be free room and board, plus the use of all of our facilities here at home, in exchange for living with us and seeing to our needs. We must have someone that fits in well. We get along with most anybody and value those who like to do the same. We live in a suburb of the scenic city of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Please email Matt at peaceaboveall.net for additional information. Please include your informal resume stating your strengths and weaknesses and reasons you would make a dedicated caregiver. We would also offer to negotiate a nominal salary in addition to everything else. Again, please email matt@peaceaboveall.net. Thanks for responding.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Final segment here of the Wednesday night edition. Mark with you.
Jay.
Ian.
And you can, we might be able to sneak you in if you make a phone call here at 855-450-3733. But Ian, you've got the a story about these anti-natalists, and these are people that did not consent to being born, which I guess none of us did, but they're angry about it.
They're butthurt about it.
Yeah.
To the point of filing a lawsuit, apparently, in one of their cases.
Okay.
Against their own parents.
Yeah. Well, yeah, one guy, this Samuel, Mr. Samuel.
I'm hoping that case gets thrown out on its butt because it's ridiculous on its face. But the story here is from the New Yorker.
It's not ridiculous. It's true. He didn't consent. However, what do you do about it? What are the damages?
Yeah, I guess they would claim that their whole life has been damages if they didn't want to be born, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, well, let's take care of that for you. Yeah. Your life is only as valuable as you say, right? So
take this pill. You're going to go to sleep, and you're never going to wake up again. No pain.
Right. The only
Problem
thing we
solved.
have, and by the way, it got into the article. It got a little bit later. Samuel appeared to be not just angry about being born, but having to work.
Yes, that's what it sounded like.
And he's like, he doesn't like the idea of having to work. So he wants a paycheck for having been born.
Well, he's going to be really interested in the new universal basic income proposals.
Yeah, you were born naked with nothing, quite literally. In my case, I was born naked to a woman who didn't want me.
Yep.
Everything I've got in this world, I have either been given by somebody or earned it, or given the opportunity to earn it from somebody. And I'm grateful for every one of those opportunities. Thank you so much to everybody who's helped me get where I am. But I am by no means angry about the opportunity to live a life.
Well, David Benatar is, and according to the New Yorker, he may be the world's most pessimistic philosopher. An anti-natalist, he believes that life is so bad, so painful, that human beings should stop having children for reasons of compassion. Quote, while good people go to great lengths to spare their children from suffering, few of them seem to notice that the one and only guaranteed way to prevent all the suffering of their children is not to bring those children into existence in the first place. Unquote. He writes in his 2006 book called Better Never to Have Been, The Harm of Coming into Existence.
This isn't very deep. I mean, like, you could explain this philosophy in 2 sentences. Therefore, it's not worthy of reading a book.
In Benatar's view, reproducing is intrinsically cruel and irresponsible, not just because a horrible fate can befall anyone, but because life itself is, quote, permeated by badness, unquote. In part for this reason, he thinks that the world would be a better place if sentient life disappeared altogether. Benatar was born in South Africa in 1966. He's the head of the philosophy department at the University of Cape Town, where he also directs the university's Bioethics Center, which was founded by his father, Solomon Benatar, a global health expert.
All right.
So he grew up during apartheid. Pretty rough time, I guess, to be in South Africa, especially if you're a black guy. I don't know if he's black or not, but...
Beyond these bare facts, little information about him is available online. There are no pictures of him on the internet. YouTube videos of his lectures...
I guess you won't find out either, Jay.
YouTube videos of his lectures consist only of PowerPoint slides. One video titled, What Does David Benatar Look Like? Zooms in on a grainy photograph taken from the back of a lecture hall until an arrow labeled David Benatar appears, indicating the abstract pixelated head of a man in a baseball cap. After finishing The Human Predicament, I wrote to Benatar, writes the New Yorker article here. I wrote to Benatar to ask if we could meet. He readily agreed. Then, after reading a few of my other pieces, followed up with a note, quote, I see that you aim to portray the person you interview in addition to his or her work. He wrote, quote, one pertinent fact about me is that I'm a very private person who would be mortified to be written about in the kind of detail I've seen in the other interviews. I would thus decline to answer questions I would find too personal. I would be similarly uncomfortable with a photograph of me being used. I understand entirely if you would rather not proceed with the interview under these circumstances. If, however, you would be happy to conduct an interview that recognized this aspect of me, I would be delighted. End quote. Undoubtedly, Benatar is a private person.
Sounds like a bowl of laughs, this guy.
Oh, yeah. By nature. But his anonymity also serves a purpose. It prevents readers from psychologizing him and attributing his views to depression, trauma, or some other aspect of his personality. He wants his arguments to be confronted in themselves. Quote, sometimes people ask, do you have children? He told me later. He speaks calmly and evenly in a South African accent. And I say, he says, I don't see why that's relevant. If I do, I'm a hypocrite, but my arguments could still be right. Unquote.
I have to agree with him that his arguments are correct. He was born without consent. However, beyond that, that
may not be his argument. That's the guy who was filing the lawsuit.
I see.
You're talking about.
Well, it's all sort of about this. And life being bad, that's just that's subjective.
It's too bad he didn't get a little taste of man camp when he was a young man, so he could maybe have a little desire to do something productive and just make things.
You don't want life to be good. No, you don't want life to be good. That's a ridiculous thing to say. Would you go to a movie where there was no conflict? I mean, part of storytelling is the conflict. That's why you have man versus nature, man versus himself, man versus animal. There's a whole variety of conflicts out there that exist within story.
Well, I do want life to be good, but there's nothing wrong with a challenging life being good.
Well, that's because you look at a challenge as good.
You overcome the challenge. You defeat whatever that challenge is, and then
I look forward to challenge myself.
Yeah. If I were to write a story about how great everything, have a character and then have great things happen to the character, and then that's the end of the story. No one's going to read it. It's boring. I'm of the opinion that we are spiritual beings, have an earthly experience, but nonetheless, you don't have to believe that to realize that without conflict, there is nothing.
He smiled uncomfortably. This was exactly the kind of personal... Oh, sorry, I missed the other point here. When he told me that he's had an anti-natalist view since he was very young, I asked how young. A child, he said after a pause, and smiled uncomfortably. This was exactly the kind of personal question he preferred not to answer. Benatar and I met in the World Trade Center where the New Yorker had its offices. He's small and trim with an elfin face, and he was neatly dressed in trousers and a lavender sweater. I recognized him by his baseball cap. On the building's 64th floor, we settled into a pair of plush chairs arranged near windows with panoramic views of Manhattan. The Hudson on the left, the East River on the right, the skyscrapers of Midtown in the distance. Social scientists often ask people about their levels of happiness. A typical survey asks respondents to rate their lives on a scale of 1, the worst possible life for you, to 10, the best possible life for you. According to the 2017 World Happiness Report, Americans surveyed between 2014 and 2016 rated their lives on average 6.99.
That's pretty good. That's better than 2/3.
That's less happy than the lives of Canadians, who rated 7.32, and happier than those of the citizens of Sudan at 4.14.
Well, that's impressive that they say 4.14. These people living in Sudan are coming up with the answer almost even, 4.14 is almost 5. 1 being terrible and 10 being great. Yeah. They're somewhere around good. These people have what this is a test of how people answer this question, not a test as to how happy they are.
Another survey reads, quote, taking all things together, would you say you're A, very happy, B, rather happy, 3, C, not very happy, or D, not at all happy? In recent years, in countries such as India, Russia, and Zimbabwe, responses to this question have been trending upward. In 1998, 93% of Americans claimed to be very or rather happy. By 2014, after the Great Recession, the number had fallen, but only slightly, to 91% of Americans.
So Americans are rather happy.
Yep.
but they aren't living the best life they could, according to these two things when you put them together. Is that what we're saying?
The point here is to say that people are relatively happy with their lives. However, Benatar believes they're mistaken. Quote, the quality of human life is, contrary to what many people think, actually quite appalling, he writes in his book, The Human Predicament. He provides an escalating list of woes designed to prove that even the lives of happy people are worse than they think.
Okay.
We're almost always hungry or thirsty, he writes. When we're not, we must go to the bathroom. We often experience thermal discomfort. We're too hot or too cold, or tired or unable to nap. And we suffer from...
This guy's what we call, I'm from down south, this is what we call an idjit. We call them idiots.
That sounds like a little bitch to me. We suffer from itches, allergies, and colds, menstrual pains or hot flashes. Life is a procession of frustrations and irritations, waiting in traffic, standing in line, filling out forms. Forced to work, we find our jobs exhausting. Even those who enjoy their work may have professional aspirations that remain unfulfilled. Many lonely people remain single, while those who marry fight in divorce. Quote, people want to be, look, and feel younger, and yet they age relentlessly.
Wow. Sounds like...
just a sample from this guy's book.
Sounds like some overprivileged yuppies.
It's just complaining.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's incredible. I got no use for this crap. What's his name?
Bitch.
What's his name?
Professional bitch.
David
Benatar.
David Benatar. Well, there you go. Check us out at freetalklive.com. Appreciate your time.
See you tomorrow.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 6, 2019. Gold opened the day at $1,286. Silver opened at $15.08. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,841. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the